All right, I think we have most of the people who've already joined in, and without any further ado, we'll get right into it. Good afternoon once again, and welcome to the finale of Tomorrow Today as part of AIM 2020. It's really exciting to have 12 projects qualify to the final round of these presentations, and we're really looking forward to your presentations this afternoon. So, to give you a quick introduction of the judging panel today and our esteemed judges who will be scoring your presentations, we have with us Dr. Srinivasan. He is the Managing Director of Project Management Institute South Asia. He has over 30 years of global professional experience as a CEO, senior management consultant, and entrepreneur in India, Asia, and the US. Dr. Srini has also had a hand in 5 successful startups in areas as diverse as biomedical technology, consulting services, outsourcing, and knowledge management. Thank you so much, Dr. Srini, for joining us today. We also have with us Katrin Harvey. Katrin is the Chief Operating Officer at the Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens based out of Vienna. She has over a decade's experience in sustainability, climate change, clean energy, and organizational management. She has used her experience in fields like business development, language studies, and international development to enhance the impact of non-profit organizations. Welcome aboard, Katrin. A pleasure to have you. We have with us Mr. Venkatesh Sarvasidhi. He is a senior head with the National Skill Development Corporation in the Digital Skills Innovation Industry Partnerships and CSR engagements in building the policy and framework for skilling motion in India. He also heads the eSkill India under the Digital India initiatives to empower the youth and leads the innovation practice in engaging with the startup ecosystem. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Venkatesh. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Abigail Soma. He is the Executive Director and Chief Marketing Officer at Worldview Education. His true passion lies in building organizations and brands in the people development and learning space. And along with nurturing the aspirations of Generation Z, Aditya also looks forward to bringing together organizations, universities, think tanks, policymakers, and governments on a single platform with stakeholders in the K-12 education system. Thank you, Aditya, for joining us. Thank you to all of our judges. And without any further ado, we're going to get right into the presentations. To quickly go over some of the rules for the presentation, as mentioned earlier, each team or individual will be given a maximum of 7 minutes to present. Post 7 minutes, the judges will be asking you a few questions for 3 to 4 minutes, which you'll be answering, and then we will move on to the next presentation. At 6 minutes, we will send you a chat just as a notification that you have 1 more minute remaining. And we will not be encouraging any additional time for the presentation. So we will give you a hard stop at 7 minutes. And post 6 presentations, which we estimate would take about an hour, we'll take a 10 to 15 minute break, come back for the remaining 6 presentations. I hope that's all clear. You can always leave a message on the chat if there is any clarification that you need from our end. So we're going to get right into it. I hope you're all excited to watch the presentations, and I hope the judges are also all pumped to watch the presentations. So the first presentation is by Aditi. Is Aditi here? You could raise your hand and I will promote you to panelist. Great.
One second, I'm just gonna change the screen.
Sure. Let me know once you're starting, Aditi. I'll start your time.
Okay, I'm gonna start now. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aditi, and my initiative revolves around tackling fast fashion with sustainable fashion. So we all know or have heard about these brands and possibly have even stepped into their stores to browse around. Well, did you know that shopping for fast fashion? Well, did you know that shopping for the latest stylish clothing trend from these brands causes terrible problems like these? As you can see here, there are heaps and heaps of clothing in the world just laying around. The ocean is being mixed with dyes and toxins. Women are forced to work in unsafe conditions, and people are protesting on the streets for the end of fast fashion. Did you know that the average person purchases 60% more clothing now than they did 15 years ago? And these garments are only kept half as long. Well, these and even more problems are all because of the fast fashion industry. But what is fast fashion, and what are all the ways to avoid these problems? Fast fashion is the mass production of cheaply made, trendy clothes that are quickly coming in and out of style to get sold at low prices. It is a global issue and harmfully impacts the workers and the environment. In the fashion industry, many environmental corners are cut when using clothes. Clothes are primarily made in countries that still use greenhouse gases to fuel their clothing factories. These gases get emitted into the environment, which leads to climate change. Also, when producing clothes, the pressure of reducing costs and speeding up production time to get people to buy the newest trends as fast as possible causes a usage of cheap toxic textiles that end up polluting clean water. And due to the speed at which these trends are changing, means that more and more clothes are being made for fewer amounts of money, resulting in a lack of quality and less closet life, causing clothes to be disposed of often. Therefore, more built-up textile waste in landfills that takes years to biodegrade, leaving the fashion industry to be the second most polluting industry in the world. Fast fashion also has exploitative labor conditions like endless working hours with no breaks, unsafe working conditions like exposure to toxic substances, child and forced labor, and extremely low wages that do not even meet the minimum legal wage. Sustainable fashion was introduced as a means to end the harmful impact of fast fashion on the world. Sustainable fashion is about producing clothing in environmentally, socially, economically, eco-friendly, ethical, and sustainable manners to in the end have an industry that works without leaving a negative footprint. Many different forms of sustainable fashion have been created and used individually, as seen on this image here. However, my initiative will use all these factors together to tackle fast fashion and uphold sustainable fashion. Speaking of my initiative, it covers a span of 5 stages of implementation, and each stage is a milestone. The stages are planning, operations, delivering the end product, spreading awareness and promoting sustainable clothes, and the continuation of initiative after founder leaves. The 5 stages will cover these 5 main processes to make up my initiative. In a nutshell, my initiative begins by soliciting unwanted clothing and money donations from high net worth areas, since these are the people who normally shop from fast fashion brands. Then, connecting with the fashion schools to solicit volunteer stylists, and government centers to recruit paid tailors. Following these volunteers and tailors will be paired up to work together to create the newly refurbished clothing from unwanted clothes. After the refurbished clothes are finished, they will be taken to residential schools to be donated. And lastly, a sustainable clothing line will be created, and the pieces in the line will be put on sale to be bought by the initial people who shop from fast fashion brands. Here is my initiative in more detail. In this very accessible spreadsheet, I have planned all the tasks of each stage along with an estimated timeline and amount of how much money they would each cost. Stage 1 is mainly planning out and identifying the stakeholders of my initiative for it to begin. In stage 2, we will start collecting funds and clothing from the donors, and we will recruit 3 volunteers and tailors. Then we will sort the clothing out and deliver it into the volunteer stylists who will plan out the designs of the new clothing item and send it to the designated paid tailors who will follow the designs and refurbish the clothing into a new product. In stage 3, we will take all the new clothing items and deliver them to the respective residential schools. We will get feedback on the initiative and clothing here as well. We will create social media accounts to spread awareness about fast fashion in stage 4, part 1. We will also connect with influencers who want to be brand ambassadors for our initiative. In part 2 of stage 4, we will create a sustainable clothing line on a website where refurbished new clothing items will be listed to be bought by others who are interested. To create the line, we will have to plan out the types of clothing that will be listed, since people are more likely to buy trendy in-style clothing. Therefore, that is what our line needs to consist of. Lastly, in stage 5, this is where the initiative ends, so I will be presenting it to nonprofit organizations who are interested in the initiative to take it up and continue it without us. The tasks in pink show that they consider money, therefore I made a financial plan as well. The total estimated amount of money my initiative will need is 66,000 rupees, since we need money for transportation costs for collecting unwanted clothing, paying the 3 tailors for each clothing item they made, gathering the equipment and materials for the refurbishing task, packaging the product and delivering it to the residential schools, spreading awareness about fast fashion, sustainable clothing, and the initiative, and setting up the website where the sustainable clothing line will be on. Now, finally, the big question: why will my initiative work? Well, I've already done a fast fashion, sustainable fashion project for my school. My team and I researched fast fashion and its impacts on the world and sustainable fashion. We first collected some unwanted clothes from people in our school, then learned how to embroider, stitch, and implemented all that we learned onto the clothing and presented it to the parents on presentation day, and got lots of interesting feedback. Also, fast fashion and its impacts on the environment and workers are already well known because when scrolling through the news or Instagram and searching up the hashtag fast fashion, helpful posts are there explaining what fast fashion is, its environmental impacts, as well as advice on fast fashion brands to avoid. Many thrifting apps like Poshmark or Depop are also becoming quite famous, and people list their items in their closet on these apps and others buy from them. However, there are some potential challenges that my initiative could face. Here in India, there is a stigma on buying secondhand used clothes. It may be hard to convince people to buy from my clothing line since they may be stubborn on their beliefs and not like the idea of reusing clothes to make new refurbished pieces. Although I believe that if we show them what is happening in the world due to excessive buying from these fast fashion brands, they may have a change of heart and see the benefits of buying secondhand from my line. Although with the bad comes the good, and my initiative has many benefits. The most important one being that fast fashion impacts on the environment and workers, such as textile pollution in air, water, and land, and forced labor for barely any pay, will be reduced in the local areas where my initiative will take place. Less fortunate people will also get decent refurbished, good quality clothes, and people will also have a new brand to shop from, which is environmentally and ethically friendly. Even more benefits are that tailors with talent will get jobs and money, and volunteers like fashion stylists and designers will get networking opportunities. All in all, due to my initiative, people will have knowledge on fast fashion, its impacts, and sustainable fashion, and due to this, word will get around and awareness on the topic will be spread. Lastly, I have also thought of an expansion I could include in my project. I have realized that many kids from local government schools do not have good shoes or backpacks and use the same ones for years and years until they cannot anymore. Therefore, I have decided to expand my initiative for the future by creating refurbished shoes and backpacks to be donated to the less fortunate kids, along with clothes as well. I believe that most people are open-minded and understand the impacts of fast fashion and just need an easy push in the right direction to go along the sustainable fashion path, and my initiative can be just that. If we stop supporting fast fashion brands and care about what we buy instead of throwing it away months later, we can save the world from this detrimental global issue. So that concludes my initiative on tackling fast fashion with sustainable fashion and why and how I will implement it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditi, for a beautiful presentation, and over to the judges for any questions they might have for you.
Hi, Aditi. This is Srini. That was a fast presentation on fast fashion. Help me understand, how do you stand out in a very crowded field of everybody and his brother saying, we're into sustainable fabrics, we're into sustainable clothes, we're into sustainable fashion?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch you. Did you say it?
How do you stand out? How do you make yourself special when a lot of other people are out there saying we're into sustainable fashion as well?
Well, I mean, like, I also am into sustainable fashion. Like, I guess stand out, I mean, I stand out with them. If they like sustainable fashion, it means like they're produced like without sorry. Okay, I'm into, like, I stand out.
No, I'm just asking, how does your initiative, why is it special? Why should we look at it when there are a lot of other people out there who say they're in sustainable fashion?
Well, it's special because it's trying to use the clothes that we already have and use the fabrics that we already are like currently have in our closet. We're going to reuse them to create trendier clothes. So we can disregard like all the fast fashion clothing and instead use that fabric and create our own sustainable clothing. And we're not really creating new clothes. We're just using what we already have to create, I guess, new refurbished clothing.
Okay, thanks.
I have two questions. Aditi, hello, nice to meet you. Very well done. Thank you. And also kudos for being the first one. This is always tough. I have two questions, and that is, on the one hand, my thought was, if you're using, I think if I understand correctly, you want Did I just freeze?
Yes, Katrin.
Yes, sorry. So if you want to look at to use specifically clothes from fast fashion to turn that into something refurbished, right? That was the idea behind.
Yeah, that you can use like basically any clothes that you don't want anymore. You can use them, like say you don't like this shirt anymore and you were about to throw it away. Instead, you can give it and we can reuse the fabric of that clothing to create new clothes.
How do you then work around quality issues with the fabrics? Because sometimes I'm thinking, especially with the fast fashion stuff, after a few washes, the fabrics become really not very nice anymore.
Yeah, like the tailors, they probably know how to work around that. We'd also have we could also, like if a part of a clothing was like not good quality, but the other part was good, we could use it like for patchwork or something like that. So, but if the piece itself is not that good, I guess then we couldn't really use it, but.
Okay. Good, thank you. And then secondly, if I understand your time plan correctly, you had awareness raising as stage 4. And is that really step by step, or is it like, were you planning to do it?
Yeah, I was planning to have it staggered. Like I could do something, like something in stage 4 some other time. I think that like the timeline is just estimated, but maybe when we're starting off the initiative, I could also spread awareness then. Yeah.
Exactly. That was actually a recommendation. If you want to do it, don't do it like one of the last things to do. Okay, wonderful. Good. This concludes my questions. Thank you so much.
Aditi, this is Venkatesh here from National Skill Development Corporation. I want to understand, Aditi, the role of technology as you scale, as you build this entire model. I believe technology will play a major role. And can you give me
Mr. Venkatesh, your voice is breaking. It's a little inaudible.
Okay, is it better now? I'm
Yeah.
actually having some network. So my question to Aditi is the use of technology in scaling the startup. What is our roadmap?
The use of technology. Well, we can use technology to reach out to any people who would like to give their unwanted clothing to us. We can use it to spread awareness on our topic, on our initiative. Yeah, technology is like a big impact as well on my project.
So you have any roadmap or any vision of what all areas you can use technology in?
Yeah, I think I included it. I can, as I said, I could use it to create the website where my line would be on. I could create it a social media account or to promote my project.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Aditi. Well done. I think you covered a lot of ground in 7 minutes. So my question is that you put up a certain budget, right? 66,000 rupees. How long is that money going to last you? And after that, how are you going to continue running your initiative? Where does the money come from after that?
Yeah, so this was just an estimated amount of money I put for the certain tasks like transportation or materials. And the money would come from like anyone who would want to donate it or any organization that would want to scale it. And so, fund it. But the money would last my plan was to do my project for we would create 300 pieces of clothing. And we would donate it or we would sell it, and then you'd get money from people who buy. And also after a certain amount of time, it will all the stages will end, and then we would have to start it up once more, for a second round, I could say.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Aditi. It was a great presentation. And we'll move on to our next presentation with that. Next, we have Sanya and Ojas. Sanya and Ojas, could you please raise your hands? Judges, this would be team 2 on your scoring sheets.
I'll just start sharing 1 second.
Sure.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, Sanya.
All right, so we'll start.
Yeah.
With the onset of the fourth industrial revolution, the lines differentiating the digital and physical worlds have been blurred. The COVID-19 pandemic further exacerbated it. This situation becomes troubling, especially when we consider the younger demographic for whom the options to entertainment are just as accessible as the options to learn and grow. We know excess of everything is bad. Even a good thing can become catastrophic if done in excess. Technology is one such example. Like social media was created as a means to connect with the world, but now is cited as one of the reasons for depression and loneliness. OTT platforms were created to entertain and relax its users, but now there are rehab centers for the users who become addicted to it. One thing is clear, we need a counter, a control for every technology that we use so that this boon doesn't become a bane. One of the major areas where we need to control the usage of technology is in relation to the OTT platforms, whose usage increased during the pandemic. India registered a 60% growth in paid OTT subscriptions, which has further led to binge watching. There are endless studies which show the impact of binge watching on the health of the individuals. There is a clear need for a targeted solution to this problem of Netflix addiction, especially among the youth. The biggest issue within this problem is the lack of control of a parent on the digital lifestyle of the child and the child's lack of interest in the physical ecosystem around him or her. And note, when we talk about Netflix, we refer to all OTT platforms. So the only solution which has been offered is to lock the platforms after a certain duration. The one fatal flaw with this approach is that the child resists it. The child does not want to reduce the Netflix time, but is being forced to do it. This is what we aim to change. We plan to bring a positive behavioral and psychological change in the child, which will result in the child's desire to reduce Netflix time. We will give the child a choice. We will incentivize reduction of Netflix time by offering gift cards. By pursuing the gift cards, the child will make a choice to reduce the Netflix time. What we aim to achieve here is to enable the parents to set up a bilateral system with their child, which will control the time the child spends on these platforms. Once the parent suggests the terms of control and the child accepts them, then we will just play the role of an enabler who will help them to keep their end of the bargain. Over to you, Ojas.
How the app works. This process will be initiated by the parents with the help of the app's premium version. The parent can make an observer account on an app which can send a request to a certain Netflix account to monitor it. The request will be sent via email to an account, not the device. If the holder of the Netflix account accepts the request, then an app will be downloaded on the device on which the email has been opened. After an initial 30 days, the parent will be given an analysis of the daily average viewing of the selected Netflix account, probably that of the child. The parent will then decide a daily average viewing time for the child. This limit, however, will not be enforced immediately. The selected Netflix account will be asked to reduce the average watching time of the initial 30 days by 1 hour every month till the ultimate goal is achieved. If the daily average is 7 hours a day, for the next 30 days, the upper limit of the watching Netflix for the next 30 days will be 6 hours, after which the Netflix account will be logged and the user of the selected Netflix account will earn the point for reducing that 1 hour every day. These points will be rewarded per minute. 60 minutes will be saved by default, and any additional minute saved will be given the same points per minute. When will the additional points be earned? If the user does not use Netflix after midnight for 21 consecutive days, and he or she will be given the bonus points at the end of the period. If this continues for 90 days, then a special gift basket will be earned. If the child does not watch Netflix more than 1 hour at a time and keeps a gap of 1 hour between two viewing durations for 21 consecutive days, then the bonus points will be given at the end of the period. If this continues for 90 days, then a specific gift basket will be earned. When will the point be deducted? First, if the child watches for more than 2 hours at a time, then the points will be deducted. Second, if the child watches between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m., then the points will be deducted. Third, if the gap between two viewing durations is less than 30 minutes, then the points will be deducted. Next slide.
There's some issue, it's not, yeah.
These are the features that will be available to the child once he or she opens the app. These tabs will be appear at the bottom of the screen. This provides some basic idea of how the user interface will look. The next slide provides the Cinemas Observer account interface. Next slide. Our app will be provided in two variants, the premium variant and the standard variant. In the premium variant, the child will be able to earn points for the time saved and avail gift vouchers. The parent can lock the app for a specific hours like during study time or during meals. Premium version allows the child to stay updated with his or her friend's progress. In the standard version, our app would monitor the hours the child spends on a given platform and lock the platform once its upper limit set by the parents is reached. Over to you, Sanya.
So our marketing will mainly be done by social media and collaborations with NGOs, schools, and parenting advice magazines, which will raise awareness for the issue that we are trying to solve. As for our startup capital, we will require 12,50,000, which will it includes the cost of production, marketing, and operational costs of 1 year. Our revenue model, we will start with a freemium revenue model where we will have a free version and a premium version. A yearly subscription of 600 will be there for an observer account, and a 400 rupees yearly subscription if only a user account is created and no observer account. Secondly, we will do email advertising for our partners. What we will do, and this will be targeted to our free users. So the partners who will advertise their product to our premium members, they will send emails to the free members and encourage them to convert to premium so that they can use the products of our partners. And secondly will be our MQLs and SQLs, in which we will send emails to our premium members encouraging them to buy related products. Like premium members are the ones who will be availing gift vouchers, so the related products emails will be sent to them, maybe of our partners and other companies. Our funding is as follows. We will start by bootstrapping. The second step is friends and family. Third will be a Series A round of funding. Then we will move on to angel investors, and lastly with venture capitalists. Thank you.
Hi, this is Venkatesh here from NSDC. Can I ask a question?
Sure, Mr. Venkatesh, please go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I think it's a very interesting idea and a thought. Have you started any adoption cycle? Have you piloted this?
No, so we haven't started making the app just yet. We are discussing the features and everything. We decided on the interface like we showed you in the PPT, like these at the bottom of the screen, these are the features which will be there. But we haven't started making the app.
Great. So I think that's one thing I would suggest, maybe do a little bit of focus group discussion with set of parents in your, within your friend circles and with certain student groups across the community, so that you get better value added features also which you can add upon it. It's a fantastic idea. I really like that. As a parent, they would really love this kind of a format. But you may add certain more features to it depending on the outcome of certain surveys or certain questionnaires what you can prepare and stuff like that, so that you have better usability aspects to the particular app what you develop. Yeah.
So I'm actually working on a research paper relating to this idea, and I have spoken to a lot of parents who were concerned about their child's addiction, not just for Netflix, but in the gaming industry, in social media, which was exacerbated during this pandemic. My very own brother is very addicted to gaming. So my own parents were very concerned that since school is online and he's spending all day doing this. So I spoke to other parents about that, and they were very intrigued by the idea of such an app.
Yeah, I think the best thing I like is it's not restrictive. You're actually positively rewarding people. So that behavioral change is a very interesting thing to watch out for. Overall, the concept is good. Maybe you need to do a little bit more research about it as you get into the execution in the pilot phases. Thank you.
Hi, Sanya and Ojas. This is Srini.
Good evening. Good afternoon, sir.
Really nice listening to you. I can appreciate why parents would like your app. Help me understand why you and Ojas's kids would like this app?
Well, mostly because it's offering us certain kinds of gift vouchers, and the kinds of gifts that we will give will be curated to the needs of the child itself. Like, for example, teenagers our age, they might be interested into certain kinds of shoes, maybe sports shoes, or phones, or certain kinds of electronics, or other kinds of things that we as teenagers look for, maybe certain clothes. So if let's say my friend tells me about this app and I see that I can get a 10% discount voucher for these pair of shoes that I want to buy. So I can encourage my parents that just by reducing my Netflix time and by earning some points, I can avail that at certain levels. Then I would want to do it because, like we stated earlier, the child is making a choice. Here, when the gift that the child can receive becomes more important than wanting to watch Netflix, that's where it all occurs. So the kinds of gift vouchers that we will reward will be like that, which the child would appreciate, and but something that the parents would appreciate as well, like maybe some gym memberships or some healthy food joints, so that the child's buying habits also improve. So it's adding value for the parent as well. So that further depends on the kinds of companies we partner up with and the products that we brand.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody from Vienna. This is a very cool idea. I like this whole gamification, and it makes it easy and fun to do. I have two questions again. One of them, How do you the more negative ideas that I had is like, how are you planning to deal with? I would expect to have a little bit of a backlash coming from the Netflix and the stuff and the content providers and the online gaming society groups, because that's what they want, right? Because that Netflix wants you to be stuck to this to your computer and to your screen all the time. So I would wonder if you already thought about how to actually integrate them or bring them on board to a certain degree. So that's the one side, is how do you want to deal with the providers. And then secondly, also similar to Venkatesh's question is, do you also plan on engaging with the parents to give them some sort of skills and ideas on how to work with the kids? Because if we're talking addiction, there will be withdrawal symptoms in a sense. So you would probably have to equip the parents with something that they could offer their kids instead, as they, what are the kids going to do in that 1 hour that they're not watching Netflix? And you need the parents, they might not have the time to spend with their kids, they might be working. And is there also an idea of how you can engage or work with an NGO who does parent consulting or something like that?
Right. So your first question was basically how we deal with the backlash from sites like Netflix. So one thing that I want to make clear was that we are not saying that you should stop watching Netflix completely. We just want to control the viewing time, because binge watching can have serious impacts on us, and the fact that children our age are sacrificing their sleep, staying up all night, that is having detrimental effects. So as for Netflix, what I was planning was that in the future we might want to provide such a feature with Netflix themselves, like develop it in such a way that Netflix itself can offer it to their users, maybe. And so because these days the awareness that this Netflix addiction is going on and everything, it's increasing. India diagnosed its first case of Netflix addiction and the person is in rehab. So that awareness is going to increase every day. So with that, Netflix would want to like do something to restore their image, because if everyone just sees the negative impacts of watching Netflix for so long, then everyone will just stop paying for it, which will be even more detrimental to them. So we want to develop in a way in which we are not saying no to Netflix, we just want to control the usage. We're not saying no to any of the technology that there is, we just want to control that. It's like watch 1 hour, 2 hours, but not 10 hours a day, like that. So in the future, it might be valuable to Netflix itself. So instead of like facing backlash, we might actually get some partnership offers with them. And can you repeat your second question?
If you are engaging with parents and giving them some tools and skills of what to do with their kids when they're not watching Netflix and how to deal with, for me as a mom, how would I be are you going to have like some, I don't know, webinar or something, a workshop, or maybe document papers that I can read and what to do with my kid if, there's going to be withdrawal symptoms in a sense, yeah.
Our initial approach was to maybe we could give some courses as gift vouchers, like on Coursera or edX, where they could get certified and provide that as a gift voucher to the child. And slowly and steadily, like first we want to test the working prototype, like the model that we have in mind right now, understand what the parents want, because one of the options that we're giving them is limits. Like they can put a restriction that, let's say, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the dinner time, the child cannot watch Netflix. So during that time, the app will be logged automatically. Or if from, let's say, 3 to 6 p.m. is the study time, so again the app will be logged because the parent has set that limit and you cannot watch the app during that time. So understanding the kinds of limits that the parents will set, we will understand what the parent wants the child to do during certain times of the day, and based on that, understanding how it's working, we can then move on to the suggestions phase of it. Because I recognize that at some point we will have to provide some suggestions to them, but we're like, after the prototype works and they stop watching it, then as and when we'll understand the parent and the child's need, judging from their buying habits, what kind of offers do they avail, because they can't avail every offer. Like once they reach a level, you'll have, like, let's say 5 options, so you avail one. So we'll understand what they want and in which direction are they inclined towards, and based on that, we'll go with the options after that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sanya or just in team, congratulations. I really like the idea. I mean, especially because as Worldview, we keep talking about behavioral change, bringing in a behavioral change. So I particularly love this idea. So I have a couple of questions. So one is that about the price point, you had put down a particular price that you want to offer this as the premium subscription. Did you do any sort of customer survey or testing to arrive at that price, or how did you arrive at that? That's one. And the second thing is, do you see this working with other age groups? Because it's not just children who have a problem with Netflix addiction. And, so have you thought about that aspect as well?
Right. So as for the price that we arrived to, we actually thought of the price that parents pay for a Netflix account itself, and considered that, and that's when we thought that let's give a yearly subscription instead of a month by month, because you need a year to bring certain kind of change. So but we haven't run this price by the parents yet, but considering the amount they pay for Netflix, this is the amount we felt that would be appropriate if we like see it monthly as compared to what they pay for Netflix. And I'm sorry, what was the second question?
The second one was the applicability of the solution for other age groups, not just children. Do you see that as an opportunity?
Yeah, we did consider that, so which is why we're giving the option of a standalone user account. Like if an adult wants to get his or her addiction under control, like if they're aware that, okay, they're developing this addiction, so they can develop a user account, set the controls, and then be rewarded by adhering to it. And which is why, since they have the self motivation to reduce it, we've kept the yearly subscription for that less than the parent one.
All right. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanya and Ojas. We'll move on to our next presentation now. We have Elena, Zara, and Lesha. Could you please raise your hands? Before starting the presentation, a note to all our participants, I request you to please turn on your videos during the course of your presentations. to the rest of the participants who will be presenting after this as well. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll just share my screen. Okay.
Good afternoon, respected judges, students, and teachers. We present to you Project Athena.
This is what we'll be talking about today.
So the problem that we're aiming to tackle is that low-income students in India do not have access to a well-rounded education, and with most Indian schools not putting enough emphasis on extracurriculars, especially sports, this ends up hampering their holistic development. They also lack essential social skills like teamwork, which ends up reducing their employability. Furthermore, with India being one of the most unsafe countries, as you can see from these statistics, it becomes vital for girls our age to have the skills to be able to defend ourselves, which can be honed through teaching them sports as well as self-defense.
After carrying out research and talking to multiple people, we have come to the consensus that these are the main reasons why the problem still prevails in India. In addition to this, it's also the mindset of the teachers and the parents who end up pressurizing the students to do well in studies and dismissing the idea of them being able to excel in extracurriculars. For example, teachers taking PE lessons to teach maths and science.
The problem impacts young students not benefiting from the various advantages gained from extracurriculars.
So now coming to our mission, what are we aiming to do? We truly want to be able to give low-income students a chance to develop holistically by providing them with equipment, as well as care packages and tutoring, along with a platform to gain new talents and to be able to showcase them.
These are the sustainable development goals that our project embodies in one way or another. These sustainable development goals are also majorly lacking in India.
To solve the problem, our 4 proposed solutions are tutoring, care packages, teaching self-defense, and providing sports equipment and infrastructure. So our first project is youth-to-youth mentoring, in which we are already mentoring over 100 children from all across the world. So we have carefully chosen these subjects after conducting several surveys and identifying the subjects that the students were most interested in, and also the subjects that the most counselors recommended and they found to have the best possible outcomes. So previously, we've been tutoring over 100 children from various backgrounds in several subjects, and our mentors are a highly qualified group of high school students who specialize in these subjects, and these are some of the achievements listed. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the best way we found to help the underprivileged children was tutoring them in extracurricular activities online. So we've been using the platform of Zoom, and till now, as I said before, that we successfully managed to tutor over 100 children.
Now to the next part of our project, which is care packages. One of our goals is to provide holistic education care packages to the children of India, which will benefit their hand-eye coordination, flexibility, concentration, memory, and logical thinking skills, among others. These are the finances for one of our care packages. The average cost of one is about 300 rupees.
Now we move on to the next prong of our plan, which is self-defense. So teaching young students self-defense has a lot of advantages. So as we talked about the statistic before, not only does it help young people be able to defend themselves, but it also teaches them a lot of very important values such as integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, and discipline, which will all help them a lot in the future. So we really want to provide the students who are already teaching the equipment that they need to excel even further by setting up this mutually beneficial program where we have people from more privileged schools trying up with people from less privileged schools. We will really help our students learn the right use of the equipment as well as help them improve their talents. Now we come to the stages of implementation. We have already began tutoring, and we have done a lot of grassroots surveys to truly figure out what our students want. And we have already been in contact with several government schools. And talking about our further plans of implementation, we want to expand our tutoring initiative. We really want to design a curriculum as well as reach out to even more schools and start holding weekly sessions, as well as provide them with the equipment that they need to use in these sessions and to further improve their skills.
So our first plan of action is to expand on our ongoing project, which is tutoring, so that we can reach even more children. Following which, we will be focusing on the assembling of care packages and delivering them, teaching girls self-defense, and then finally providing sports equipment and infrastructure to the underprivileged.
These are the milestones we hope to achieve in the near future.
Through our projects, we aim to create a long-lasting impact. By tutoring these children, we will be improving their skills, making them more employable, and by providing them with equipment and care packages, we will really help them improve their talents. So we're going to be dividing the grant money into two sections, which is sports equipment and care packages. We will be able to provide sports equipment to 16 schools, which will impact the lives of over 50,000 students. Through the money, we will be able to provide care packages to 160 students for now. And since our products have low prices but high quality, this allows us to have the maximum impact.
So this is our financial plan. We will first need 7,300 rupees to start up a project, 3,000 for 10 care packages, 500 for delivery costs, and 3,800 for sports equipment for one school. We are starting with a small number because we need to have a comparison group, and it is difficult to compare it with larger groups without adequate funding. We will primarily source this capital, startup capital, from crowdfunding and other public donations. And how will we fund scaling the organizations? We will apply for grants as well as contact businesses for CSR projects along with fundraisers. We also want to hold employability talks that will further help our students in deciding their careers. We had this information through a conducted survey.
So after participating in our tutoring programs, the students will get to present their learnings at the end of the year in sports competitions and or talent shows. So through these competitions, we aim to create the next gully boy, or in other words, give these children the opportunity to live their dreams. We are also going to get sponsors for all these competitions and talent shows, and the talent shows will have a fees of 50 rupees, and the collected money from these will go to the students' families as an additional form of support.
Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. Judges, any questions?
Yeah, I'll just go. I have lots of questions. So there's my main question is, well, if you could please explain to me, I understand the different components and how important they are as their individual parts, but how does it tie together? I'm trying to understand how, is there like a overall framework, a general, something that brings the four components together so that in the end how do they click? I didn't understand that completely. And then my second question, just so that I don't take too much time, if you want to, if one of your bigger financial plans is to get sponsors and CSR money, how did you envision some sort of communications and outreach, PR kind of activities, maybe on social media or something else that would really attract those kinds of donors and give them something where they could have a benefit from donating to your program?
Okay, so I guess I'll take up the first question. So to answer your question, I think all of them relate to providing our students with a holistic education. So we want to, in all of these aspects, we have one main goal, which is to provide them with this education. And after they have developed these skills, we want to give them a platform to be able to showcase them. So I think through our self-defense training, as well as our tutoring, and whether it's giving them care packages, we're really trying to bridge the gap that most Indian schools leave their students with. They do not have the skills which they need because they're not receiving education in all these extracurriculars. So we're trying to bridge this gap, and that's the main aim of all of our multiple projects, and that's how they tie.
And if I can answer your second question, we actually already have a social media account. It's Project Athena on Instagram. And we also have a marketing and content team to attract sponsors.
And we also have a website which is up and running. It's called projectathena.in.org. So you can check that out too.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, ladies. This is Srini. My first thought listening to you is, I wish you guys had been around when I was growing up. Question for you. From an implementation standpoint, from actually getting it done standpoint, a little bit of a follow-up to Katrine's earlier question. Would it make sense for you to focus on one or two of these as opposed to 6 or 7 of these? Do you think you have the bandwidth to be able to handle all of this at once, or does it make sense to put it into phases or packages?
So I think that right now we're just sort of want to progress as it goes. So we want to focus on one aspect and then the next to the next. So we don't want to rush things. However, we do want to cover all of them eventually because we believe that, each in its own is very important to our final goal. So we really want to focus on one at a time.
And for all of the projects, we don't require as much work because one of our projects is already up and running. And we have a pretty large team of people. We have a marketing team, a coordination head, and a president and everything. So we have a pretty large team to help us implement all of our plans.
Okay, thank you.
Could I also mention that we've I just want to mention that we've already tied up with 3 government schools. So we already have ties with them, which will again help us which it will aid us in this process.
My suggestion to you would be, as you expand, you may want to look at either making some kind of a prioritization, or make sure that you have enough people behind each one of these initiatives so that they can all flow the way you want them to flow.
Of course, we'll keep that in mind, sir. Thank you.
Hi, great presentation. I think I like how nicely designed also the slides were. Is one of you a designer? No? Okay.
We have a designer on our team, so.
All right, that's nice. So my question was about the challenges. You already have started implementing it, and you said that you're tied up with 3 schools. So in terms of executing these projects and scaling it to more schools, and being able to measure the impact of this on how children learn, so far, what are the biggest challenges that you've come across? And especially, are there any challenges in terms of say inertia of the parents in terms of going away from what typically parents want children to learn, especially in terms of academics and grades and all of that? And how do you plan to tackle those challenges?
I think the biggest challenge we faced up until now, I think talking about the coronavirus times, is that we've not really been able to reach out to most of our students because of the technology gap that we're facing right now. Because so we've only been able to reach out to the mid-tier, not the completely not very underprivileged students because of the technology gap, again, as I stated. And I think the parents are reluctant at first, but I think mindsets have started to evolve, and we've actually held sessions with a lot of parents, and we've told them about the advantages of providing your child with a holistic education, as well as them honing particular talents. And I think they have become more understanding, and they sort of let their child participate in the program.
Are there any more questions?
Mr. Venkatesh, any questions from your end?
Yeah. Hi, Lina. I think I really like the confidence with which you guys have presented. That's so nice. Good to see that. And my question to you is, the concept is good. Of course, the adoption will take its own time because you're an early stage, startup. how do you plan the adoption strategies? What really is interesting for me to know, because India has 1.75 million schools, okay? And most of it are government driven. More than 60 to 70% are government schools. And then you have the private schools, state-led schools, and international schools. What segment of audience are you catering to? You need to be very clear about your target audience. Within these students, which are the schools which you're targeting? Which regions are you targeting? How do you go about it? Do you have any thoughts around it? Have you thought about it? If you have thought about it, what is your strategy there? Elena, I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Yes, so I think we have thought about it. In particular, I think what we're trying to do is that we do recognize that there are about 1 crore schools. But what we're trying to do is right now we've already reached out to about 20 more privileged schools in Delhi, of students of which we know. So we want to set up a mutually beneficial program. For example, if I go to a more privileged school in an area and there is another lesser privileged school in the same area, we want to connect those schools together, and we want students from the more privileged school to go ahead and tutor the children from the less privileged school. So that's how we're planning. So those are the schools that we're aiming to target at first, and that's how we're planning to expand it as well.
So we've started from the schools in Delhi first because it's where we live, so it's easier for us to reach out to them. And most of the like tutors, they also live in Delhi, so that's why we thought it's smarter to start with Delhi first.
Yeah. So one suggestion I have is because one of the roles before NSDC, I was heading Microsoft Academic Initiatives for Southeast Asia. So I would say if you can focus more on community building engagements, involve students, build some student volunteers, build some student ambassadors, create some social badges, create that as a momentum. And, and that kind of a network really helps you acquire new students, sustain students, and also a community effect always is very impactful in programs like this. So if you can start that kind of a community connect, community program, and of course some school students, and students could be created at different levels. You have student rock stars, then you have student ambassadors, then you have student volunteers. Each one of them are assigned to do certain tasks, and then there are certain pointers. These kind of things excite students, and that kind of a thing can actually help you scale. Maybe you should read a little bit more about the community initiatives. Second is, from now I'm part of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. There are sector skill councils. So there are 37 sector skill councils in India. Sports sector skill council is one such sector skill council. Maybe you should talk to them also. They would actually give you more fuel to your idea. They can help your idea scale. And once it is recognized by sector skill council and they make a part of it, you can even start reaching out to government schools and state-driven schools. So, think a little bit more about adoption. And how do you strategize? Who are your target audience? How do you reach out to them? How do you sustain the momentum? How do you build those communities which are stronger, so that the vision what you have can easily, move in all directions, and people come to support as a community. So you have a better scale.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I have another question. I think this is slightly connected to what Venkatesh just asked. You did mention somewhere that you have a president and you have some sort of a structure in place for the organization. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How that structure works, and who is part of it, and how does it grow?
Okay. So I think we have us founders who are on top, and then after that, we have a head for each of our departments. So we have a content department, we have an outreach department, we have a social media department which creates all of our posts and things like that, as well as like a marketing department with sort of like outreach as well. So I think that's how we're sorted out. And we have a head, so we give them the tasks and they give their volunteers as well the tasks. And for the tutors, which we have about 75 tutors, a part of our organization right now, we don't really have any sort of a hierarchy, but we do have a coordination head who manages all of the communication between the tutors and the students.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Leena, Alicia, and Zara. All the best. Moving on to our next presentation, we have Anvita, Sriramveer, Rushi, Ria, and Ishika. If you all could raise your hands, please.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, Anvita.
Okay, great.
Okay. Solar Good. Solar Good by Shram, Vera, Anvita, and me. Table of content.
What is the problem? The problem is that there's a lack of continuous electricity in rural villages, which in turn affects the education of many rural children. Children don't have access to affordable electricity, which prevents them from getting access to a proper education. The light helps children study at night.
Who has the problem? Families in rural areas are affected the most by the lack of clean and affordable energy, and as a result are unable to utilize or access food storage, a light at night, filtered water, or etc. Children in particular are affected by this problem as a lack of clean and affordable energy. Sources such as solar power forces them to depend on candlelight to study at night, which is unreliable and unsafe.
What is causing the problem? The cause for the lack of affordable and clean energy in rural areas is due to the fact that the government provides non-renewable sources of energy to these areas. This is expensive and contributes to climate change. There's also a lack of education about solar power, and many citizens think it is a challenge to bring solar energy to rural areas and that it costs too much to support.
What does the problem impact? The problem impacts the education of children in rural areas. By providing them with access to affordable and clean energy, they will be able to study at night and reduce eye strain.
The project goal. The mission. The goal of the project is to introduce solar power to rural areas to decrease the reliance on coal and oil for energy. We want to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and climate change, while also providing rural areas in India with a continuous source of energy. The solution. We will be offering solar lamps and solar power workshops to people, and we will show them the benefits of solar power. They will be able to utilize solar energy, which is renewable, cheap, and more efficient than coal and carbon-emitting sources of energy. The benefits. The rural children of India will have access to the workshop and will benefit from this initiative. The rural children will get access to renewable energy, which is clean and more efficient. And the group members are making a positive impact on the environment. The estimated impact. We've already done 4 workshops where we're able to provide solar power lamps to 120 rural children. Based on the interest for solar power lamps we're selling to privileged children, we'll be able to sell approximately 100 lamps. For each lamp sold, we'll donate 2 lamps to rural children. So we'll be able to donate approximately 200 lamps to more rural children. We expect the numbers of lamps donated to grow as more people start buying our product and solar lamps and the word starts spreading.
Our sales plan. We will purchase 100 solar panels to start with for 100 rupees each from the Energy Suraj Foundation, who is willing to provide the solar panels to us and is allowing us to rebrand them. All the solar panels will cost us a total of 10,000 rupees. We will market and sell these solar panels to privileged children who have access to continuous energy but are willing to learn and support solar power. Our marketing strategy is an open-ended strategy through which we will provide full transparency to our buyers. We will inform them that buying 1 solar panel from us will sponsor 2 solar panels for two other underprivileged rural children. We will sell the solar panels to people through the website that has been developed for Solar Good. With the 200 rupee profit from each solar panel, we will reinvest in 2 more solar panels, which we will donate for free to rural children. If there are changes in prices, we can adjust our sales plan, and this plan can be scaled up depending on donations. We can sell the solar panels by selling them to people in our communities and persuading them to buy solar panels by showing them the effects of solar power and also telling them that they are helping rural children. The financial plan. We have raised 46,500 rupees through crowdfunding on Milap, and with this money, we have already provided 400 solar panels to rural children. We will purchase solar panels for 100 rupees from the Energy Swaraj Foundation and then sell them for 300 rupees plus shipping to the non-beneficiaries. After selling the total amount of solar panels to the non-beneficiaries, the group will have a profit of 200 rupees for each solar panel sold. The profit will then go towards purchasing more solar panels, which will be donated to the beneficiaries.
For everyone who donates on the Milap page, Milap will donate 10% of the funds raised. We also have the support of various other students who wish to spend their time to work on this project. They're willing to donate their time, effort, and money towards growing this project. So far, our marketing plan and our support from Milap ensures that we will have good sales. We have done a survey and got over 200 responses from people who are willing to donate and spend 300 rupees on our solar panels.
Implementation plan. All of the resources for the workshops and the development of the website have been covered by the money that has already been raised earlier as a part of Care Good Foundation. We have signed a contract with the Energy Swaraj Foundation that ensures that we will be able to rebrand their solar panels and sell them as long as we follow the guidelines of their energy literacy drive and continue to conduct workshops constantly with rural children. Each year, we will share a detailed report with them demonstrating the number of children we supported with these solar panels. This will also help us understand the growth of our project and the impact that we've made on the environment.
Marketing plan. We have already had multiple articles written from various reliable newspapers such as Better India, Times of India, the New Indian Express, edX, the Modern Activist, and Nedu, and Telangana Today. Additionally, various other students are interested in donating their time and allowances towards this project. These students will spread awareness through word of mouth, one of the most popular forms of advertisement amongst teens. We are also planning to gain a social media following to spread awareness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was a great presentation. Over to you, judges.
Hi, Anvita and team. This is Srini. Just a quick question. How do you track usage after you've donated a panel to a child? How do you know that they're using it the way they're supposed to? How do you know if they're using it at all?
Yeah, so basically, while we're doing our report for the Energy Swaraj Foundation, we also do that report partly for us to be able to understand how much of an impact we've actually made. So we do contact these students and we do call them and we stay in contact with them. So we know regularly how much they're using the solar panel and we approach them to see if it's actually helped them. And so far, the results have been incredible. And there's been so many rural children that have been using them constantly every day so that they can study at night.
That's great. A small suggestion, you may want to include that in your presentation as well.
Sure, we'll make sure to do that.
So, hi, Anvita, Veer, Sriram, great presentation. So my question is about your long-term sustainability of the project itself. This is the kind of project that requires you to be on ground quite a bit. So what are your future plans in terms of after you graduate from 12th grade, and how is this project going to continue once that happens?
Yeah, so we're planning on starting in-person workshops as well, and we've all made sure to put all of our time and effort into it, and we're so passionate about this. We also have many other people on our team who are willing to take this over after we go to college, even though we'll also be available. And while we started this during COVID, so we did have the problem of doing it, we can't do it in person. So we were actually surprised to see how easy it was to be able to contact many of these people through Zoom or any other online platforms, since actually if one of them have any device, then they're all able to tune in on, even if it's just a regular cell phone call, and they're all able to learn. And it was actually a really simple process, and it was still able to get our message across effectively.
Great, thank you. I think this might apply to most of you who are presenting today, not just to this team, but start thinking about the succession plan, about what happens with your projects as you go to college.
It's funny, Aditya. Thank you, everybody, for your wonderful presentation. I had exactly the same thought, because I think this is, it sounds like a very successful already project, and I can really tell you have a great team spirit amongst the four of you. So congratulations. And I was like already starting to think, so what's the rollout plan? How can we reach everybody in India? You know, did you already start thinking about, you know, how this could be scaled up and how this could be, you know, go beyond what you've already been able to reach? Maybe, I don't know, maybe is your technology partner, could you bring a second one on, and these kinds of things, so that you can really, you know, make it blow up? Because I think it has the potential.
Yeah, so we're actually looking into that right now, and we've contacted numerous different rural children, actually hundreds of them. So we've actually reached around 300 rural children right now, and we're planning on branching out into Telangana, because we've mainly focused in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. So we are definitely planning on conducting more workshops and contacting more rural children and branching out through that way. And we're also contacting nonprofit organizations that build schools for children who don't even have access to a government school. So with these nonprofit organizations, they have access to hundreds of rural children. So that's our next steps to being able to scale up our project.
Mr. Venkatesh, any questions from your end?
I just want to check with them whether they, you know, had any conversations with some of the existing solar startups or accelerators or impact fund people, in the energy space, because there are many startups which are flourishing. There are many accelerators now which are set up in India, which are energy centric, clean energy centric. Did they have any exposure?
Yeah, so we've contacted the Energy Swaraj Foundation, and specifically Solanki sir from the Energy Swaraj Foundation, and he's really helped us and he's guided us. And also a solar power mentor called Mr. Srinivas Sankaturi, he's helped us so much through this. And other than that, we've also contacted LaunchX, since their Tesla is making solar panels, but they're built into the roof. So we contacted them, and they're actually willing to speak with us, which is great, and we're going to speak with them very soon.
Great. So, of course, Tesla and all are good names to certainly take up. But at a state level, at a district level, there are many startups which are focusing on clean energy, and a bunch of them which have actually got very good of pre-seed and Series A funding levels. So maybe if you can talk to your fellow guys, they can help you, mentor you, because this requires a lot of operational efficiencies and execution. So maybe at an early stage, if you have a right mentor, that would be very, very helpful for you guys. And there's a very emerging space in a country like India. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah,
I just want, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just saying, we'll definitely make sure to contact more people. We're always looking for more feedback. And
yeah, so why I'm saying, local people is that they'll be able to relate with the local problems. That's very important. So, getting connected to those startups would help you actually learn a lot of things and maybe challenges, maybe areas where they failed. So it could be a very good thing. So maybe you identify some right mentors in this space. That would be very helpful for you.
Katrin, you were saying something?
I was just wondering, are you based in Karnataka? Is that where you're? No.
No, we're based in Hyderabad. We actually started off in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh because a lot of our grandparents are there. So we've seen firsthand a lot of these children. And since that's where we got all of this inspiration from, we decided to start there.
Okay, that's because if I was thinking, because if you were in Karnataka, Selco Foundation would be one of the first I would go to as a local solar energy organization. That's why I'm asking. Okay, sorry, just a side question.
I have one last thing. Do you have any pictures of the particular gadget device that you're giving right now?
Yeah, I do have pictures. I can show it to you.
And have you tried to evaluate how long it usually lasts? Or does it have very good longevity in terms of the quality of the device itself?
Yeah, so we tell these rural children everything about this device and this lamp when we are providing this lamp to them. And basically this lamp, it's able to last for up to 10 hours if you do put the solar panel out in the sun. So we teach them how to take care of the solar lamp, and we teach them about how to charge the actual solar panel. And is it possible for me to share my screen one more time to show it?
So it was what you showed in your presentation?
Yes.
All right, great. I remember that. I was wondering if it was a reference image or the actual one.
Yeah, that was actual one.
Great.
Great. Thank you, Anvita, Sriram, Rishi, and Veer. So moving on to our next presentation, we have Devansh, Aditi, Khushi, Noyonika, and Saina. Judges, this is team 5.
May we start now?
Yes.
Good afternoon, respected judges. Today we will be presenting our Project Kelowna to you. So during this presentation, we hope you recognize the impact Project Kelowna can make and how it is a need in today's world.
Albert Einstein once said, "Everybody's genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's a failure." Today, we have modern day schooling where fish are not only made to climb trees, but are also expected to run. Schooling is meant to prepare us for the future. In the past, educational systems trained people for jobs, but today the world has progressed. And now we need people who think creatively, innovatively, critically, and independently. Now, what if I was to tell you that a doctor prescribed the exact same medicine to all his patients? What would the results be? Well, they would be tragic. So many people would be sick. And when it comes to school, this is exactly what's happening. One teacher stands in front of numerous children when each one of them has different strengths, different needs, different gifts, and different dreams. Yet they're taught the same thing the same way. Curriculums are created by policymakers through systems that are old and not modernized. If we live in a world where everything can be customized, from clothes to cars to healthcare, Why can't we as a community customize education? That's the thought we started Project Kelowna with. And thus we wanted to give every gift a chance, and so we came up with our project.
So, Project Kelowna aims to enhance education through the provision of resources that builds thinking skills and creativity. So, our project will enhance students' analytical skills, improve their cognitive development, and help them gain perspective on the opportunities the world has to offer them. In our country, educational inequality is still very prevalent. So, our project will help bridge this gap and enable children from lower income backgrounds to experience activities that are unknown and disregarded in their section of society. We chose to do this because after seeing what children in India are learning, we have come to the realization that countless students have an education that only focuses on academics. While underprivileged children and their families are not aware of this problem, we studying in international schools can tell. We felt the need to work towards improving the education of children coming from lower income backgrounds as soon as we realized this disparity. Next slide, please.
We plan to implement our project in 5 phases since we have 5 members of our team. We felt it would be systematic to leave the execution of each phase in the hands of one member, meaning each phase will be led by a single member who will be supported by us. In the first phase, we will raise more money. In the second phase, we would like to buy the goods, and if it is safe to visit these organizations, we would like to install the equipment and set up the enrichment rooms in the NGO ourselves. In the next phase, we would like to distribute handbooks and start our interactive sessions with the children. For our 4th phase, we would like to extend our program to offer mentorships in subjects like English, and we will do this by gathering volunteers to conduct sessions in person or online. In the 5th and final phase, we would like to scale up our project after a careful SWOT analysis and evaluation of our project. After knowing our strengths and weaknesses, we would like to approach many more NGOs and help at least 1,000 children have a brighter future. Next slide, please.
For our financial plan, we would like to start by saying our project doesn't need a fixed amount to kickstart it. The project is furthermore sustainable and can make a difference with even a small amount of money. The table shown on the slide describes how we will spend the funds in an orderly fashion. The amount of money will be divided in the following ratio, and the budget will be calculated by the following formula: the number of kids times 1,000. All NGOs will benefit and get the equipment from each of the above listed categories. But we have decided that the variety of resources will have to increase or decrease based on the number of kids, requirement, and the funds available at that time. We will not provide the children with any monetary benefit or give resources to any individual. Rather, we will give the resources straight to the organizations where everyone will have access to all the equipment. We will further acquire money through donations, sales, and more. As most people prefer to pay for a product or service that will give them something in return, we chose to do this method and will not primarily rely on donations. Our first fundraiser was on these lines, and thus we did an online concert where we managed to raise 1.2 lakh rupees. In the month of February, we plan to host cooking classes by professional chefs to raise more money. And while COVID restricts us, we will still try to be creative and gain more capital by several virtual methods if the pandemic continues. We will select NGOs based on the amount we have at a certain period of time and the number of kids in the organization. And with your money, be able to benefit 100 more children.
Today, where a vast amount of work and even schooling is online, technology seems to be playing a major role in keeping life close to normal. We use technology to our advantage to scale our project and spread awareness about the same. We use technology in several ways to campaign through Instagram and other social media platforms. We also hosted fundraisers on platforms like Zoom, which helped us raise capital. Furthermore, we made collaboration efficient by the use of online methods. In the near future, we will reach out to children and NGOs and provide them with extensive knowledge on topics like sports, music, and art through interactive sessions.
Sustainable Development Goals. Our project mainly aims at providing good quality education, which we feel will further resolve many of the problems that people face and help them achieve more goals. Our project will indirectly also bring better working conditions, economic growth, and reduce hunger, as a project will hopefully make their future more secure, and as a result will reduce poverty and inequalities.
Next slide, please. Thank you. Our project is instilling new ideology into the minds of rural families and people in society. So underprivileged children do not have access to an education that is holistic in its nature, and thus our project will be helping them look at the arts and sports as possible career paths in the future. So furthermore, our project will need to change the mindset of the rural people into accepting this new form of education where extracurricular activities are given equal importance to academic subjects like math. The problem we might face is instilling the mindset of these people, as they may not be accepting enough given the rigidity of the thoughts and beliefs of rural communities. The other problem we've had to overcome is the COVID restriction. We are trying to be as creative and efficient until it's safe for the children to interact with us. Therefore, we have come up with the solution of creating handbooks which will explain the use of equipment donated and further explain various career paths. For example, we have created a sports handbook which will help and also teach them the rules for sports. Next slide, please.
Our impact measurement. Our project has potential to create a great impact if executed well. Education is the foundation to a secure future. Our project does not only spread awareness about the arts and other career options, but also better equips children for the future as they will be able to think creatively and innovatively. Furthermore, our project can help them get a better financial future, one that is more secure. In addition, our project is sustainable as it will leave an impact forever. The education we provide will stay with the children forever and cannot be taken away, even if they have no longer access to the equipment we provide them with.
We would like to end by saying that while students account for only 20% of our population, they are 100% of our future. So let's attend to their dreams and their needs and not tell them what they can achieve.
Let's work towards a world where fish are not forced to climb trees. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Judges, any questions?
Yeah, hi, this is Venkatesh here. So first of all, I'm happy to see this and really impressed with the introductory remarks you made about not everything fits everyone. The same thing fits everyone, and then we need customized thinking around development of skilled children's attitude towards a certain area, domain, sector, because their interests are different. I think that's a very important statement. That's in fact one of the things what parents should also realize, not only teachers, because parents keep pushing in a country like India to get into STEM, getting to become an engineer. As for education policy, which is now reframed and launched right now in India, one of the government was driving certain initiatives and interventions into it. We have taken care.
Your voice is breaking, so we couldn't hear you.
Is it here better now?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Okay. So I really loved their introduction. That's really nice. One of the challenges what they've shown because of the pandemic and all, were you in touch or did you do any research on some of the online platforms trying to solve your problem? Have you come across anyone?
We thought that the most practical, most of them possessed a phone which could operate Zoom. So we thought either we could approach the organization once the children start visiting it, or
Why I asked you the specific thing is, there are two startups. One is called Kite, KYT, and the other is called Crejo. In fact, both of them raised their pre-Series A and Series A funding recently with very good set of people backing them in India, including the founders of Flipkart and also back them. So have a look at them. In fact, they have a similar model, but they use the online mechanism to scale. So you will get a lot of inspiration when you start understanding that model. So, in a situation of pandemic or in a situation of tough situations where online mechanisms should be used, some practices from them could be helpful for you, number one. Number two, again, I want to understand your scaling model. How do you want to scale 1 year, 2 year, 3 year down the line? You have any forecast? You have any clear clarity numbers that you're aiming at?
Sorry, is it possible for you to repeat your question, Mr. Venkatesh?
What I'm saying is your adoption. So do you have any numbers in place in terms of how many audiences or customers you want to adopt in first year, second year, third year? Do you have done any projection of that?
Yes, sorry. So as we stated, we plan on helping 1,000 children this year. And then next year we plan on expanding to another 1,000 and scaling it up as we go.
Is 1,000 is too small, or do you think you can be a little more aggressive?
We think once we have gone to 1,000, we will know our capabilities and how we require the resources, and then we'll be in a better position to reevaluate and then see how many kids we can reach out to. So once we try this out, once we have, we've already reached out to 120 kids, and we're in the process of giving them the equipment. So after we know how they use it and any possible difficulties in the first round of execution, we can improve on that. And if we feel that the amount of kids is too less, we can always increase it based on our execution.
The other thing also, I would say, you guys, have you explored Atal Tinkering Labs? Have you done any study? Have you understood the model of how Atal Tinkering Lab works?
We looked at this thing called Maker's Box, which targets private schools, and basically it provides them with equipment to schools, and is in currently talks to do this for private schools. So we thought of extending it to do it to community as a community service initiative to kids who are underprivileged and in rural areas, along with people in government schools near Delhi for now. And we would further like to go around India and do this at a wider scale.
Okay, so also study about Atal, under the Niti Aayog, there's something called Atal Tinkering Labs, ATL. So when you do a little bit study about it, you'll understand they have a similar model, but they try to give a lot of STEM devices and things like drones and things like robotics and robotic kids and other stuff, so that kids get excited about the STEM and usage of STEM in their labs and stuff like that, and in their schools and all of that. So they give devices to each school, similar model. So, if you can read about it, and also since it's Niti Aayog is a Government of India initiative, you can reach out to them. They will be more than happy to support you, guide you, share their experiences. That would be very exciting. In case if you need help, let me know, because I'm with the ministry. I can connect you with the right people at the Niti Aayog who can guide you further. Thank you.
Thank you. We will look into it. Thank you.
Okay, I have. Thank you very much for this interesting. I think the idea of reaching out and the extracurricular activities to actually support the STEM uptake is quite interesting, and I like it. I was wondering, when you decided on what to give to the students and to the kids, what kind of toys or activities or the also sports equipment, whatever, decide on what to get them? Did you do some market research? Did you reach out to the NGOs and try to find out what they needed?
So
we reached out to the NGOs.
Sorry, do you want to go ahead?
It's fine, you can speak first.
Yeah, so we have reached out to numerous NGOs, including we've spoken to Keto, which is a crowdfunding website, and we have spoken to different NGOs, and we've asked them what they need in supplies. So mainly we are supplying books and STEM toys, which obviously help with cognitive development. And we've done our market research. Due to COVID restrictions, we haven't been able to visit the NGOs.
We also asked the NGOs if they had possessed any sports equipment prior to our donations and our provision. So we asked them what they had and the condition of the equipment. And we're looking into if we can renew the equipment or provide new ones in case, based on their requirement.
And then my second question is also, how would you define success? So how would you say, after let's say 2 or 3 years of providing these kinds of toys and equipment to the students, how do you measure that you really had an impact? Do you ask the NGOs to report back to you on certain metrics? Are you going to visit? Are you going to do questionnaires? What did you have in mind for that?
So,
due to the
Yeah, so we have been speaking to a few of the children from the Gunj NGO on Zoom and other online platforms. So basically, we're going to be monitoring the progress, and we're going to be understanding if this is working out and what tools are helping them become better thinkers and more creative.
We also have made some fun questionnaires based on general knowledge, and maybe we'll set challenges for the kids. Like we had thought of providing Lego, so we've thought of providing the creative kits, which do not have a manual, allowing the students to explore and create anything they wish to do. So, to stem their creativity, we have chosen to provide this, and we will measure our success for this particular aspect by seeing how they do and by the competitions, like I suggested.
Thank you.
So I'll go next. Good presentation, you all. Well done.
Thank
So
you.
I noticed that you have a certain mission in which you described the need for young people to understand the different kinds of opportunities that are there, and that there's no just one path to success in life. And then which is a very noble thought, right? It's a very noble mission to begin with. And then you're providing certain tools, certain toys, certain equipment to them, which will help them build their cognitive abilities, creative abilities, which is again a noble thing to do. But I see a gap between your mission in terms of what you ultimately want to achieve, in terms of them figuring out the different opportunities that they might have access to in life, and focusing on specifically building certain cognitive creative abilities. How do you see these two coming together?
We noticed that their schooling was mainly consistent of academic subjects like maths, English, and science. So what we are trying to do is bring in the arts, sports, as and instill it in their minds that these are possible career options for them. And as far as it goes, what all we can do, we would try to bring in more aspects as and when we go. But we started with the basics of sports, art, music, and dance and drama.
Also,
Because we saw that.
yeah, also to add in, we have created handbooks based on different career options. So like I mentioned, we have a sports handbook. So we're talking about athletes and their lives, as well as different forms of sports and how they can be played, so all the rules. And we're also going to be providing STEM toys, books, and creative tools so they can further explore their options.
That's great. I think a lot of times the whether it will allow me to put food on the table is a question that comes up when you want to choose a diverse set of opportunities. So I'm glad that you're creating these handbooks which help them understand how there can be very viable careers in those fields. You could build more on that. Well done.
Thank you.
Hi, Team Kelowna. Just a small suggestion as a follow-up to Katrine's question earlier. You may want to focus a little bit more on what is the impact that you're making. In other words, how is this enrichment happening? And how are the children reacting to that enrichment? Because that's a field that hasn't really been given a lot of attention, especially in India. So you may want to spend a little bit of time as part of your overall project thinking to look at how do you not just measure the impact, which Katrine was talking about, but also what does that enrichment look like, so that that message can be conveyed to a much larger audience. Thanks.
Thank you, judges. Thank you, team, for your presentation. All the best. Moving on to one more presentation before we take a break. I'm sure our judges need a quick coffee break after long presentations, but one more before we get on to our break, which is Manuja. Manuja, could you raise your hand, please?
Good evening. The development of the nation through proper science education is our mission. I am Manuja Kavishwar, here with my project idea, Sai Ajuman. Let me tell you a story. The teacher was reading aloud another 7th grade science lesson. Sham could barely keep up with the flurry of definitions and diagrams thrust at him. He looked over at his benchmate for help, but Arjun was looking clueless himself. Ketki shot up her hand and blurted out a complicated sounding question which made no more sense to Sham than the answer. He returned to his elaborate textbook doodle with a sigh and turned a deaf ear to the still groaning teacher. Sham here represents a common school student. This is the sad scenario of everyday school. Only theoretical schooling is emphasized, and the majority of teachers prefer conventional methods. I believe quality education is the base of all the other SDGs, and imparting proper education and making the learning process interesting is what brings me to my project idea. The conventional teaching methods and learning methods are making the students downright unwilling to learn, and this lack of spontaneity is what causes them to miss out on more educational opportunities and future employment opportunities. Here, 1st to 7th grade students are my focus group. This student age group will be my concern, as that's when we can develop their interest in learning. After that, it is too difficult and too hard for the teachers and the students. With Sai Ajuman, we will run science clubs, which will act supportive to theoretical schooling. These clubs will focus on experimental learning and raising a curious child. Learning kits will be prepared with the usage of materials readily available and, if needed, can be replaced with the materials available in every house. We don't require fancy equipped laboratories until a certain age or grade. Scientific aptitude, though called such, isn't only limited to science education but goes hand in hand with every aspect of education. Scientific aptitude is developing critical thinking, analytical skills, and creativity by experimenting, and that's our goal. The science clubs will be run once a week in evening hours for good utilization. The course will be a 4-month one. Teaching in the student's native language will be our focus to ensure proper understanding. Sparking curiosity in the student, which will be beneficial everywhere in every aspect, is also our aim. Now, about the teachers or the science facilitators. We plan to employ local science graduates. This will be beneficial to them too, as this will ensure a steady pay for them. The trainers or facilitators will be trained by experts. We can ask for help from Vigyan Prasad, Vigyan Bharati, or the Homi Bhabha Research Center academic wing. We will prepare the kits using materials like glasses, bowls, matchsticks, cups, paper, and many such things. Only around Rs 300 will be required to prepare such kits for each student, and each student can perform around 15 to 20 age-appropriate activities using these kits. For example, we can teach the Archimedes principle with a container, water, and some weights. The topic measurement can be taught by using a scale, thread, and a pencil. The materials listed in this slide are not according to the experiments. These kits will cost around 300 rupees, and we will need money or funds to pay the trainers and also for the centers. We now plan to charge every student 1000 rupees for the science club. We will use the money to fund the kits for less privileged students. The rent costing can be cut if we tie up with schools. So it is a collaboration of different groups with the same purpose, the same mission. The breakup of finances is in this slide. Please have a look. I ran a pilot project and the schools are actually eager to join. Now for the potential challenges. Awareness, making the students, parents, teachers, facilitators aware of the advantages of practical learning will be a big challenge. The teachers are used to conservative and traditional methods. So the acceptance is also a challenge. Rote learning is the only way out for them, but only theoretical education is not going to help the students in the long run. There are many unemployed science graduates out there, and handpicking the teachers in them will be a task. Change of attitude. The students, teachers, and graduates are all used to one particular style of teaching and thinking. We need to change that attitude to ensure actual benefits. Initial capital is a challenge in every project idea, and Sai Ajuman is no exception. So this was my project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manuja. Over to the judges.
Thank you, Manuja. This is really a great idea, and I think I could have used that when I was in 6th grade to become more interested in science, because we also had I can totally relate to your story at the beginning. I really liked that in your implementation plan, you considered all different kinds of stakeholders that need to be involved in this project. I just wanted to know, because I saw there's a specific role for the kids and for the teachers, and then for more like organizations that already exist. Did you have also a specific role as part, basically also to get their buy-in for parents in your implementation plan?
Yes, actually convincing the parents is actually going to be the biggest challenge, because we can convince the teachers to let, but the parents are going to be a huge obstacle, or maybe we can just call it a barrier so we can get over it. And actually most of the time these kids are going to be from the 1st to 7th grade, and they are actually going to be sent into those clubs by the parents. And but means when I ran the pilot project in this, I think the parents were really open-minded, because for them it means as long as we can convince them how this is going to benefit in the long run and not just the near future by rote learning, I think they're going to be willing.
Because if I understand correctly, the parents would also be the ones paying for these clubs, right?
Yes,
the fees would be okay.
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you.
Hi, Manuja, this is Shrini. Just a quick question. What made you pick this topic?
Yes, I actually like that question. It is because I have faced this myself. And I have seen, like, in this story, I may as well be Sham, because as in the story, when I said that he returned to his elaborate textbook doodle, because I have done that. Like, I turned to my benchmate if she can see what's happening, but I had no idea what used to happen in class. And there were many times that my classmates, myself, used to learn all the questions down, what to write in the exams. But after later in the next grade, and the teachers used to ask that, do you remember what was taught? And they were like, oh, I forgot. They were used to say this line, and they did not actually remember. There were many key concepts that they totally forgot. And my parents used to explain me this practically, and they used to mainly focus on conceptual clearance. So I wanted this to happen with every student out there. So that's how I thought of this idea.
Good, thank you.
Hi, Manuja.
Hello.
So my question, I'm not sure if I missed this and if you spoke about it already, but my question is about, is this a project that you started by yourself? Do you have a team? How do you plan to implement this project and scale it in terms of the people that you will need to execute it?
Yes, at first I'm going to try with, I live in Nagpur, so I want to tie up with the schools. So there are means we don't need to rent a place for that. The science clubs will be run in the schools, and as for the science facilitators, there will be some unemployed science graduates that we can handpick the teachers, like those who can actually teach the students, and that is how we can implement it.
Yes, I did see the chart where you put down all the stakeholders involved. But in terms of your project execution itself, are you going to be driving the entire thing by yourself in terms of the operations, in terms of reaching out to these facilitators, these organizations, all of that?
Yes, I would love to be a part of this, but honestly, I will need an adult to run the whole thing. Means I can be the sidekick to the protagonist here, but I cannot actually be the one who can run all this.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, you can be the main protagonist. You should be the main protagonist, because you're the one who's driving it. A lot of us can be sidekicks and help you. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, judges. Any further questions?
I would have one more. Actually, I was trying to understand, how do you, I think this is a question I've asked in previous presentations as well, but how would you, how are you planning to show that you've had an impact with your classes? Do you have an idea of how you could show that this has actually been good or beneficial for the children?
Yeah, like as for the impact of Sahajuman, educated generation and employment generation, source of income for the youth will be the results we'll be able to see. And so we need to convince everyone and show how the students who have had practical learning exposure are at an advantage from the students who are used to mugging up all the concepts and definitions. So I think this is a clear impact. We'll be able to see how we can differentiate between those students.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, judges? All right, great. Thank you so much, Manuja. And the presentations have been great so far, but the much awaited break is here. And we can break for 10 minutes. And it's 4 o'clock now. We will reconvene at 4:10. And the first presentation at 4:10 would be that of Yashaswini's. So we'll meet up at 4:10. Thank you all.
Hello again.
Hello again, judges. So
Hi.
I think Mr. Venkatesh has been disconnected. I will just reach out to him in a moment. And Yashaswini, in the meanwhile, could you raise your hand, please? I shall promote you to panelist. A quick note for all our participants. It will be great if you all could stay till the end of the presentation so we can all take a virtual selfie of everybody together. So some of your friends who've also left after their presentations, if you could probably ask them to join back in an hour and we will take a photo together. Yashaswini, you can start with your presentation.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. May I start? May I start?
Yeah, go for it, Yashaswini.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yashaswini Yadav, and I will be presenting my project, Importance of Forest Cover. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, in their annual report 2020, estimated that the global forest area is decreased by 178 million hectares in last 30 years. This problem is very alarming, and governments and industries are not serious, and public is unaware. As mentioned in Article 51 of Indian Constitution, like the duty of state, it is the duty of all citizens to not only protect the environment but also take measures which are adequate enough to improve the environment. Therefore, youth needs to come forward with handy solutions to solve this vast problem. Now here comes the big question. Why are we targeting youth in this scenario? And why are we focusing on their behavior change? As we all know that India is consisted of 20% of global youth population, and these youths are either in school or in touch with school. Since the environment education is already part of school curriculum, it will be easy to reach them, their family members, and their other peer groups. In this age group, the behavior change is easy and long lasting. As we can see, most of the influencers are emerging from this age group. This project aims to create awareness and help them to find simple solutions to the young adolescents to adopt and practice in daily life. These solutions will be based on 4 strategic pillars: awareness and education, engaging stakeholders, volunteerism and networking, and creating resource pools. And this proposed solution would include specifically following intervention areas. In awareness and education, there will be awareness campaigns for spreading messages and trainings conducted. In engaging stakeholders, we're creating youth groups and having community participation. In volunteerism and networking, we will be conducting both indoor and outdoor activities. And in online resource pool, we're using information and communication technology for creating online database. The SDG being addressed in my project is SDG 15. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, sustainable managed forest, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation, and halt the biodiversity loss, and related targets from 15.1 to 15.5. The focus targets is 15.2, which says by 2022 to promote the implementation of sustainable management of forest cover. Now the implementation plan. The implementation plan will be of 3 phases. Our plan but we're focusing only on 2 phases within the time of 2 years. In year 1, we're starting from our own school, MGT school in Jaipur. In year 2, we're starting from all government and private school from Jaipur. And year 3, we're scaling up to all government school and private school of Rajasthan and reaching out to government of education and forestry. Now, the activities, the strategies, and the pillars that are included are in the first pillar of awareness and education. We will be spreading awareness through different campaigns and rallies. We will also be conducting trainings and workshops with leaders of a change. In our second strategy of engaging stakeholders, we will be creating network of youth groups to spread awareness and engage in community participation by conducting knowledge sharing workshops. In our next strategy of volunteerism, we will be conducting both indoor and outdoor activities, which will include tours and tracks and tree plantation drives. In our last strategy of creating an online knowledge and resource pool, we will be creating a database of recent activities and initiatives taken by government and non-government profit organizations. Then our third implementation plan is of timeline and milestone. The main focus, as I said, will be of 2 years, in which we divided into 4 quarters. In starting of the year 1, we will dedicate it to core group and division of work among those. And then we're reaching to school principal and other stakeholders. In year 2, we're starting with the internal assessment and addressing barriers of year 1. And between this time, we will have an intervention to address all these problems and barriers. At the end of year 2, we concentrating for learning or scaling up model of the model. And also we will be reaching out to other schools of Jaipur. Now, since the proposal is school-based and many of the activities would be done by aligning existing co-curricular activities, but to attain the project goal, funds would be required to implement the project. Our main source of financing would be from our own school, Government of Rajasthan of Department of Forestry and Education, NGOs working with students and environment, and crowdfunding. In crowdfunding, we will reaching by 3 fronts. First, by online crowdfunding platforms. Second, by organizing fundraising events through help of NGOs. And third, we will be reaching out to students from class 6 to 12 for contribution of 10 to 15 rupees. Here are the activities with their budget requirements, and the total is of 18,70,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashaswini, for your presentations. Judges?
Hi, Yashaswini, this is Srini. How do you picture success in your project? What does success look like?
Okay, so in my project, for me, the success of my project would be if everyone in our youth groups and their influencers from the other peer groups and their families know importance why we should save forest and why we should reduce using forest covers. For that, we will be conducting, as I said, internal assessment of what impact we have made after every year. We will conducting Google forms by which we are asking questions what they have learned and how they have impacted and what chores they have done till now to reduce wastage. And as I've done a course in coding, I will be creating a few games which will be fun and education and spreading awareness through these people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Yashaswini. I think I really liked your presentation. It's very pretty, very well designed. And I also think the logic of your implementation plan is really well, the flow worked really well. Also, I think you put a lot of good thought into your scaling plan and how you want to go from one step to the next. So the sustainability is quite clear. I was wondering if you could tell me, what kind of challenges do you expect to encounter when you go through the next few phases?
Okay, so from my side, the main 2 challenges would be our financing and our timeline. In financing, the challenges would be if we don't have that much amount of financing amounts to our activities and campaigns and workshops. For that, I will be approaching more and more crowdfunding platforms, and we will arranging tours and tracks according to our budget. And for the timeline, if our timeline didn't go as we have scheduled, the intervention that we have conducted between year 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, we were discussing all those barriers there.
Thank you.
Hi, Yashaswini. Very nice presentation, and like Catherine said, I like how it was all laid out, the entire plan. So my question is, there are lots of people who are focusing on this particular issue, right? So what makes you, special in terms of being able to succeed with this project? Or rather, another way to put it is, what will you be bringing to this project?
Okay, so my project is specially focused on the youth. My project is of the youth, by the youth, and for the youth. We will be targeting mainly on the youth population, which is the most influencing right at this time. As I said, India is considered of 20% of the global youth population, and at this time, their behavior change in communication is really helpful by convincing a message to them.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, judges, and thank you, Yashaswini.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ojas. Judges, this would be team 8.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Ojas, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, okay. Hi. So my project idea is LIT, which is a diverse community of writers and creators. What is LIT? If I'm allowed to be pretentious, LIT is a stage of ideas. It is a stage for writers and creators to talk and write about the different things that they have thought about, because writers have a lot of ideas in their head and often lack the platform to spread and propagate those ideas. Now, why do we need LIT? Let me walk you through the process of how a writer writes. Firstly, out of 1,000 people who do take up or who do want to write, less than 100 finish their novels. Now, this is because of many reasons, mainly because writing a novel is pretty difficult. There's a lot of editing, there's a lot of redrafting and drafting, and mostly you can chalk this up to the willpower of writers. Nonetheless, it is a problem. Secondly, many writers are unable to make a livelihood or full-time writing, and this renders them unable to write too long because they need to have different jobs that they need to work upon to provide for their writing. Another thing is that even if you do complete your novel and do get to a publisher, you're bound to face rejections. And rejections are great. They help you get valuable feedback and better your novel. However, you only get one person's perspective on it, that is from the publisher. And you might want to go to your family or your friends for more perspectives, but it is likely that they are not seasoned writers and can't give you proper critiques and will most likely give you a biased opinion upon your novel. The fourth thing is that even if you do get your novel published, you will get around only 7 to 12% royalty on your book. And that is if your book does garner attention, which is another problem. Garnering attention has become very difficult, especially in the world of self-publications. Self-publications, again, are a great way to get your novel to people. However, your novel being found in the sea of self-publications is a little difficult. Now, what solutions does LIT, my app, provide for this? Well, one, we will have a chapter by chapter format for posting. And a chapter by chapter format for posting will be a sort of motivational boost for writers to finish their novels and would also give them time to write their novels. They would not be pressured to make a complete novel and post it all completely. Secondly, we'll get different perspectives and critiques on their novel through fellow writers and audiences who would view their novel. Thirdly, you would have a choice of having free novels or free stories or works or paid ones. And we would be giving you more than half of royalty on your work. And in-app coins, which is another feature in our app that I would probably touch in a little later in the presentation. And fifth is you can garner attention with different kinds of audiences in the world of self-publications. Regional writers. You will also consider regional writers are garnering very little attention due to poor connection with these writers, their lack of awareness of the modern writing world and its opportunities, their works not getting translated, and the simple ignorance by people for being a regional work. The solutions that this app would propose for this would be to collaborate with regional literary organizations to make translations and awareness available. Now, why would these organizations want to partner with me? Would be because my app would be an essential bridge towards the younger generation. I myself know many writers who are interested in these sort of apps and would love to learn more about regional apps only if they were more available and accessible. And here is my financial model. Which looks like this. My key influence would be literary organizations, booktubers, and bookstagrammers. Key decision makers would be myself, organizations, a few friends who are interested in the project because currently it was an individual idea. The key sponsors would be myself. I've also, in literary organizations, I've also talked to AYK, which is a drama organization and a writing organization. And markets and sales journey would be through word of mouth, regional Kavi, Sahitya Mandal, students and younger aspiring writers. My numbers journey would look like this as we would slowly move forward. Now, these numbers are sort of modest, but if this app does blow up, these numbers would probably double up. And at the end of 12 to 14 months, I would probably be looking for this number. Again, they are modest numbers, so if it does blow up, there will be more. At the end of 14 months, this will probably be by earning and the cost journey. At the start for publicizing, since it will be in the first 6 months, mostly on the basis of social media, this is how much I would be spending on it. However, there'll be more spending on it once I reach regional organizations and try to conduct poetry slams to meet with these regional writers. And in the first 6 months for the app, I would spend around this much. Moving forward, this is the brief app design, which I would not be really elaborating on too much. It's very time constraints, but you can feel free to look through that through the app design. Okay, I'll be moving forward now. And some of the SDGs that I think I'll be indirectly impacting would be gender equality, reduced inequalities, decent work and economic growth, and peace, justice, and strong institutions. The reason why I think I'll be impacting these was because representation in media is a very powerful tool to reach and create change and inspire many people. Impact measurement, an increase in regional writers, I would be looking forward for that. More translations and more works being propagated to a wider set of audiences. Increase in writers and readers, more diverse stories and readers on stories upon minorities, diverse communities, women empowerment, etc. Impact measurement is kind of hard here since most of the impact that we're looking for is a psychological one, for which we would be conducting surveys to know how much impact it caused. These are just two examples to show books with significant impact in society. Utopia, which very much influenced political scenarios, which was published in the 1500s and still continues to inspire a lot of political scenarios. Pride and Prejudice, which I personally think inspired a lot of romance novels that came up and a lot of women empowerment issues too. And I also created polls on my Instagram story to meet up, to connect with people and to understand what they think about it. And I had a lot of people positively pointing towards how they think that social media could be a great way to create change. I think the best example of that would be the MUN discussion that we had last week itself, where our topic was leveraging technology for our projects. And most of the discussion was leaning towards social media. So you could see how much the younger generation in itself believes social media to be a great platform to create change. And we believe that writers can create change, and with them, so can it. Thank you.
Thank you, Otis. This is fantastic. I'm sorry, I just took away Aparna's announcement. I was like,
That's great, Katrin. I got bored of saying over to you, judges. So that's great.
I think this is definitely an idea that stands out from the others that we've had so far. It's really, really different. Coming from a literary background myself, of course, this is really.
Oh, okay.
I would like to congratulate you to understanding how important storytelling is for creating change in this world. And I think we're getting better at it. especially we're talking is things like even complicated topics like climate change. It doesn't work if we all talk only in science language, but we need to tell the stories that what it means. So really well done. I think you did my God, your presentation. I liked your little prezi or like Mindmeister thing. I'm wondering though, because you are tackling a huge field. Going into publishing, and this is going to be a big task. And I wondered if you could tell us a little bit of what kind of problems you were expecting to see if you go forward with your app.
Well, I think the problems that we could face going forward with this app is basically I think it's because there's a lot of other literary things there, and there's also this sort of stigma that publishing houses are more better for publishing your books rather than like an online site for like kids. So like attaching credibility to the site for as a genuine creator of ideas will be difficult, because if you talk about like if anybody's talking on Instagram about a particular idea, chances are you won't take them seriously because it is Instagram. But I think that is one of the problems, that people won't take the ideas on this app that seriously because it is an app. So that is some problem that I think would be faced.
Thank you.
Hi, Ojas.
Hi.
I really liked, again, like Catherine said, how innovative your idea itself is. I think a lot of times we forget some of these issues when we're thinking about the SDGs and how we want to impact the SDGs. Whether it's representation, whether it's in terms of bringing in different cultural elements into native cultural elements and giving them the kind of recognition that they require. So appreciate your idea. So my question is more with, in terms of your research for this, have you, beyond the Instagram stories that you've done or some polls that you've done, have you spoken to any writers or any people who've done something in this space and who face these challenges themselves? And were there any insights that you picked up that you could use to probably, whether it's to raise money for this platform or to, get your initial set of believers onto it? If you can tell a little bit about that.
Sure. I think the first person would be probably myself, because I write too. So I think this app is just basically what I want it to be. Secondly, I have also a lot of friends and peers who write, but they don't know where to go. So I talked to them about the topic. They were interested in it. Another place is that I did go to is I go to this particular place called Om Yash Kendra. And there were a lot of writers there, a lot of drama people who have reached some milestones in their life, and I asked them about their struggles, and they too presented a similar kind of stories about their own struggles about it. And also in my village also there are some writers who are struggling to find recognition because of the languages that they write in, and because most people don't know those regional languages, so it's kind of hard to meet a wide set of audiences with them. So I spoke to these kind of people and tried to get their ideas too. Yeah.
Right. And just a follow up to that. Now, do you see any parallel technology, a parallel app in another field, which is solving the same kind of problem that you're solving? Have
Well,
you
I
thought
would
about
say
anything else?
not in another field, but I think in my field itself, there are some parallel apps. Like Wattpad is one of them. Another one could be Archive of Our Own or Figment or Booksies. But those apps, I think, do not provide the best writing experience. Wattpad has a limit to how many languages you can write in, and it's mainly English. So there's a lot of English writers on it. Then there's Archive of Our Own, which is basically filled with fan fiction, so it's not such a great platform as well. And the third one is Figment and Booksies, and I did try to ask people if they knew about these apps, and they did not. And another reason is I tried to work on these apps, and they had not the best features for writing on those apps, the kind of features that I'm giving. Yeah.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Ojas, this is Srini.
Hi, hello.
I'm just thinking out loud with you. The scope of your project is huge. Anybody who writes, anybody who's thinking about writing, anybody who wants to write, would it make sense in the context of the needs of people? Would it make sense for you to focus initially on a few areas, like how does your app promote gender equality amongst writers? Just thinking out loud.
Well, I think my app would have well, I want to start off slow. I want to start off with, well, my age teenagers who are more open-minded to it. And these people already have ideas about gender equality, about LGBTQ plus communities and all of that. And I think that on my app, we could slowly have these subtopics put up as, a different set which you can go and explore. And these writers who are open-minded can put up their stories on it slowly by slowly, and we can slowly build up towards tackling these issues. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ojas. That was a great presentation. Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
We'll be moving on to our next team, which is team 9. Can we have Rashida, Arifa, Ali, and Hussein raise your hands, please?
Good afternoon, all panelists and attendees. The topic of our project is recycling plastic waste for sustainability, resulting in lesser pollution.
Innovation. We have modified and developed the existing idea. Our mission is to reduce pollution by recycling plastic and promoting plastic bricks made using foundry dust and plastic.
Is plastic a sustainable material? Yes, it is. Firstly, plastic makes a positive contribution to all three pillars of sustainability and contributes immensely to environmental sustainability through their energy saving potential. Secondly, the plastic brick made houses are more durable, eco friendly, and cost efficient. Lastly, taking kilns out of the brick making process is a boon as it generates a much lower carbon footprint than traditional bricks.
Implementation plan. We require the support of the government in implementing taxes on all other bricks and promoting the use of plastic bricks instead. The government should subsidize the sectors and companies that work regarding manufacture of plastic bricks so that its price become even lower. There should also be advertisements to spread awareness, and buildings built with plastic bricks should be declared superior so that people feel it to be a matter of prestige to have their property built with plastic bricks. To support our project as a proof, we have the following interviews.
Plastic bricks, I think so, is the requirement of the future. Because nowadays we are facing a problem in clay bricks and ash bricks. Clay bricks are not easily available nowadays because of the labor problem, because of the clay. Ash bricks is also a problem because its bonding is not so strong.
I'm Hatim Larry, manufacturer of fly ash bricks. Well, this project, what these students are into, making plastic X bricks. Plastic is a big hazard to our environment. To utilize plastic somehow or the other will certainly benefit our environment. Now, utilizing plastic for making bricks is a very rich green energy idea, and producing fly ash bricks using plastic will be there in the near future. Well, I'm a manufacturer of fly ash bricks, and a lot of the part as cement goes into the brick making, which is not a very green product. Now, utilizing cement with fly ash and furnace product would be a very good idea, and certainly it will be there in the near future, and people will be using plastic bricks in the near future because it has got a lot of advantages. Means it is going to be a waterproof, low in weight, and many other features.
प्लास्टिक से ब्रिक्स बनाने का जो आइडिया है बहुत अच्छा आइडिया है। मेरी मेटल की कंपनी है। आपने जो बच्चों ने, खास करके 15-16 साल के बच्चों ने जो आइडिया निकाले हैं, बहुत अच्छा आइडिया है कि प्लास्टिक से ब्रिक्स बनाने का। ये हमारे पर्यावरण के लिए भी बहुत अच्छा है और आगे भविष्य के अंदर में यही सब चीज़ें ज़्यादा चलने वाली है। क्यों? क्योंकि हमारे सब सोर्स ख़त्म हो रहे हैं, कम हो रहे हैं। इसमें हमको यही सब चीज़ें वापस से, इसमें हमको 2 फायदे ज़्यादा होने वाले हैं। एक कि हमारी पर्यावरण भी साफ सुथरा रहने वाला है, क्योंकि प्लास्टिक को खत्म होने में कम से कम 300 साल लगते हैं, जो कि हर चीज़ के लिए घातक है। प्लास्टिक बहुत घातक चीज़ है जो खत्म होके एक खत्म भी हो रही है और उससे हमारी ईंट बन रही है, जिसकी वजह से हम काफ़ी उसको काम में ले सकते हैं, डेवलप कर सकते हैं।
I am glad to announce that Honorable Minister Shri Nitin Gadkari ji has shown interest in our project and hence has given us an appointment on 16 January 2021.
Now this is the journey of our bricks. Our first step is exploration and planning. We have already done this step. Our second step is exploration. Our second step is installation. We require funding for this step. Our third step is implementation, which is in progress.
The most potential challenges we faced is lack of knowledge in segregating biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. Clay bricks are banned in India, but ironically, it's still in use. Further research and a better understanding in utilization of plastic waste in brick is needed to produce a high durability of bricks, as well as to achieve an optimum balance in terms of cost and functionality. Impact measurement. Plastic bricks can be very beneficial and have positive impact on the environment. Those impacts can be the contributing factor for saving our planet. The non-toxic production process produces 95% lower greenhouse gas emissions compared to concrete bricks.
Bricks in terms of dimension, strength, density, and volume are projected here.
Financial plans. To start up the brick manufacturing factory, we require investments in the following zones, such as furnace, shredding machine, collection of plastic, energy, transportation, labor charges, and in obtaining the license. The tentative budget for setting up the plastic brick factory is 10 lakh rupees. Profit and plans. Plastics are projected to do a gross of around 1,20,000 in sales in a month. Therefore, this business will be sustainable from its own sales and profit from the coming month and years. The starting return would not be much higher as the investment is high. We can take loans during investment, government subsidy, finance our business, or share the cost with partners. By recycling,
We can change
our tomorrow.
Today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, team, for presenting. I think Katrin has set the precedence in the previous presentation. The judges can jump in without me announcing.
So I'll go first. Good presentation, and it's a fairly complex problem that you're trying to solve, and you found one solution which can be very effective. But the implementation, it is a technical solution, right? So which of you has the technical expertise for it? And secondly, because it's you're talking about manufacturing, you're talking about building huge infrastructure for executing it. So where do you see that coming from, or do you have identified ways to seek support for that?
Well, are you asking here? If you ask for the implementation, as we have already shown, we have sought help from the architects, engineers, builders, factory owners, and they are all accepting to help us, and they are more than ready to help us. They find our idea very, very great and rich, and as we have showed in the interviews, they are ready to help us, and that is how we want to promote our bricks. They are going to help us promote our bricks and implement them.
All right, just continuing with that, amongst the 5 of you who are working on this project, how do you define 4 of you or 5?
4.
4, all right, the 4 of you. I thought one was off the camera, but it seems like everyone's here now. So amongst the 4 of you, how do you divide your roles? Who does what?
We have the collection, as we have shown the process of making our bricks and then implementing it. So we have divided it in that part. First of all, the collection. One of us is going to see the collection of it. The second one is going to see the brick manufacturing thing. And the third one is going to see the funding and seeing the funding, and how are going to ask people how to help us promote, as we have already done. And then the fourth one is going to supply the bricks and look upon how they are going to be made into houses and buildings or any other property. This is how we divide our work.
Hello team, this is Srini. Question is, where do you see this project 6 months from now and then 12 months from now? What do you think will be in place in 6 months and then 12 months?
Well, if we see here from 6 months, if we get the proper funding and everything, we can order the machineries, and we would be halfway upon setting up our own factories and being entrepreneurs. And if you say 12 months, which is a complete year, we would definitely have researched more and more and more and reach the core of it. And then we would have our own factory. We would have customers. We would have people, architects, builders, engineers who would support us and who would buy bricks from us. And we would have a name, a brand name.
Have you thought of a brand name yet?
Well, not, but if we get the proper funding and the thing, if we get the funding and can purchase the machinery, we would definitely go for that. We hope to be the future entrepreneurs.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I love the ambition and the passion. I can really feel it all the way to Europe here. This is amazing what you are willing to tackle, the four of you. And I think I really like how you really actually went out and talked to the people who should be using this. So you actually did some of your marketing research already, and you know that people would need this. I'm wondering, this is the biggest, I think one of the biggest challenges I personally see, and I wonder how you going to solve this. And I think maybe you might actually have to appoint somebody to do this, is how are you going to change people's minds about plastic bricks? Because I'm sure that anything that is new is going to be, first met with skepticism. And if you're looking at plastic bricks, they are lighter and they look different. And so I was wondering, what is your advocacy plan, and who would be in charge of really reaching your customers and really making this something people want to have in their homes and want to have on their buildings?
Well, this is the marketing we are going to do, and we have planned it, and it is by first of all, as we have already said, it is by advertisements. And how are we going to advertise them? That the question arises there, and we are going to answer it by we have created a social media account on our plastic bricks to spread awareness. And this is first of all, actually here we plan to reach to the younger generations first, the teenagers, the generation of our age. And if we see, they are going to be the future of the world. They are going to grow up, and they are the future of the world. So we are going to spread the message of how beneficial the bricks are, how beneficial the bricks are to the environment, how they are saving our planet to them, to the generation, to Generation Z, and the people of our age particularly. And to do so, we have created a social media account, and we have gained followers on that, and we post regularly, and that is what we have. This is the initiative we have taken up for spreading the awareness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, team. All the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next presentation, that will be team 10 judges. We have Shivam, Paras, and Rudra. If you all could raise your hands, please.
Just a second, ma'am. We're just waiting for the screen to get shared.
Sure.
Sorry, I would have to leave and join again. So could I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yep, thank you.
Is the screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So our initiative is a business proposal that would revolutionize the plastic disposal processes. So we all know plastic is in abundance, which is not being recycled on the whole earth. So presently there's about 6.3 million metric tons on the earth. So our project is based upon three basic pillars. First is achieving sustainability while also creating profits from the business. The second one is communicating our vision to the whole society. And the third one is utilizing the pre-existing pollutants, which is plastic, to create humanitarian products. So first we'd be describing the problem, then our solution, then the business strategy, and then how this solution is different from the existent ones and how it's sustainable. So just as I highlighted, there are about 6.3 billion metric tons of plastic which are not being recycled. They are either being dumped into oceans or on the roads or are being incinerated, which is even worse because it releases many harmful gases into the whole atmosphere. So we come up with a process that involves many chemical reactions, purifications, and various different facilities to purify plastic and convert it into certain finished products, one of which is water. So the first is water, then there is methane, then there's electricity, a plastic tile, then fertilizers, and oxygen and hydrogen. So first of all, the plastic is collected and burnt in a fixed environment where the gases are trapped, purified, and are made to undergo a series of chemical reactions so that they can finally get converted into methane and water, which is further separated into oxygen and hydrogen. And midway through the processes, the gases are passed at high speeds through wind turbines, which in turn results in the production of electricity. So we have many facilities which we would have in-house at the site, and we would also be outsourcing many of our processes to reduce the costs. So the first is the formation of fertilizers, the plastic separation, tile formation, cooling and separation of the gases, the WGSR reaction, electricity generation, the burning of the plastics, and the plastic collection. So for a deeper look, you could view the PPT that is in front. And these are the outsourced facilities. First one is the direct air capture, which would be used for acquiring the CO2 out of all the gases that are produced. Then there are facilities for a reaction, for the filtration of water, for the bottling of the purified water, for the electrolysis processes, then the shredding of plastic into smaller pieces, and the transport and the storage facilities. So given in front of you are the amount of finished products that will be produced from 1 metric ton of plastic. So from 1 metric ton of plastic, we can produce 0.073 metric tons of methane, 0.041175 metric tons of water, 0.01368 metric tons oxygen, 0.013725 hydrogen. Tiles would have a fixed amount of 0.92 metric tons, which is the total volume of all the tiles produced when put together. And 34 kilowatts of electricity per hour would be produced. And fertilizers do not have a fixed amount, but the amount we are putting forth is an estimated amount we can create. So if we talk about how we'd be marketing our project, so we'd be using social media and Google ads. For instance, Facebook ads or Instagram ads, which are pretty common and people even look into them. Then there is the guerrilla marketing technique, which involves unconventional ways of marketing. Then newspapers and other common sources of entertainment, which would also include TVs and radios, which are not compulsory for us to use, but they would serve as a beneficial option. Then there is the collaboration with famous social media and YouTube pages, which would also include many different celebrities, which would benefit from this product also, and would also help in boosting our social image and the brand name. Then there's the daily 1-hour endorsement of products by the employees, which is similar to a call center, but it would be done by the employees themselves, thus saving us a lot of employment and the money. So if we talk about the implementation plan, so the first one would be the collection of raw materials and the funds. So we'd be taking a fixed amount of raw materials for the first shift of the whole process. That is, we'd be going for about 50,000 kilograms of plastic at once, and we'd be working at all of it. Then we'd be working at setting up of the infrastructure, that is the facilities that we'd be requiring in-house for the purification and the other processes that happen on site. This would also include buying the shares of other companies which we would be outsourcing our processes from. Then starts the manufacturing processes and how we achieve to the break-even point to start achieving profits eventually. And then the fourth part is the business expansion and the diversification, where we introduce more phases of our business. So you could view the financial plan in front of you in the form of various diagrams because it's easier to understand that way. So next, we talk about the break-even point. So we aim to start production by April 2022, and we aim to achieve the break-even point by August 2024. That is 2 months after the starting of the production processes. Since we'd be requiring quite a large amount of capital, we'd also be taking a somewhat larger amount of time to equalize the capital that we'd used. And where we want to be is the different phases that we'd be introducing. So this would, in the beginning, be a regional project, then moving on to a national and an international one. So I'd also like to highlight that our project aims to fulfill 16 of the 17 sustainable goals that have been provided by the United Nations. So the only goal that is not fulfilled is the 16th sustainable goal. All the other ones are fulfilled either directly or indirectly by our implementation of the project, by the employment methods that we'd be using, and for the production methods. So we have 3 main target markets. The first is the retail market, which would be for the retail stores. The second is the commercial buildings, which we'd be using for selling the tiles for industrial purposes or even housing purposes. And then is the essential services, which is for the sale of every other item that we are creating. So now we'd be showing the 16 sustainable goals that we're covering out of the 17 ones.
Team, your time is up and it's 15 seconds past. Could you please wrap up in 15 seconds?
Yes, ma'am. We're just done. So we have 4 main potential challenges. The first is the rivals. The second is the infrastructural issues that we'd be facing. The third is the affordability, and the fourth is the dependency. The rivals are in the tile industry mainly. The whole project is a new thing altogether and has never seen anything like it. The infrastructure is for the production processes that we might be facing and would take a lot of time to be set up. And the affordability, as you've already seen, refers to the large amount of capital that we'd be needing. The dependency is one of the main problems that we'd be facing because the amount of plastic is limited and plastic production is being banned at many places. So that is where the use of our phases come in. So I believe that is all we have to offer. Thank you.
Any questions, judges?
Yeah, I have tons. It's a good sign if I have questions. Don't worry if I have many. Actually, well done on your presentation. I think this is very well designed and very well thought through. So we have one question and one comment. So the question is, I was wondering from the 3 of you, who I assume would be the entrepreneurs behind this idea, what are your skills? So where are you coming from? Who is the engineer? Who is the business manager? Who is, so that we can understand better, because it needs a certain set of skills to really pull this big project off. So that's my first question. And then my comment was, if I understand correctly, your target markets are retail stores, so it's mainly businesses. I would maybe recommend having another look at your marketing strategy, because I don't think social media and influencers are the real people you need to talk to. So it would be more of a business to business marketing, which would probably require a different kind of outreach to your potential customers.
Yes, ma'am. To answer the first question, me and Shivom have mostly been behind the technical part of the project and how the whole thing works and like what all services are required. Paras, on the other hand, has been taking over the whole financial part. And to answer the marketing plan, I'd like Paras to give some insight into it.
So for the marketing plan, we actually what we decided was to target to B2B, business to business plan. So that because for going for the business to customer planning, we need to set up more retail shops of our own, and we need more investment, which will be a high task, and also to go to the break even point, it would take us more time. So that's the reason we have decided to go for a business to business program. And for the marketing, we will be using guerrilla marketing, which is using of other like zebra crossings and tractors and everything. And for the other, we will be using online methods of marketing much more, and our employees, because it's more feasible for us.
Thank you.
My question, I have two questions. The first is for starting something like this, have you researched or inquired about the kind of regulatory permissions that you might be requiring? If yes, if you could just elaborate on how you would manage to get those. And secondly, the other question is with regards to capital raising. How much capital do you require to run this project? And where is your money going to come from? I mean, do you have a plan in place in terms of, the different target markets that you have? What is going to be the contribution from each one and over what period of time?
Could you repeat your first question, please?
First question is about regulatory in terms of permissions. Do you need government permissions to do this? And have you thought about some of those aspects?
Okay, so for the first question, we have decided that we will be following each and every rule provided by the government of the local area, and we will be going on all the documentations which is included in our financial plan, because of the money which it will take to us to set up the factories, and also for transportation and everything, we need to have the permit too. And at the same time, we will be using freight services, sorry, due to which it will be convenient for us too. And secondly, for the financial plan, we have decided to take up money from multiple resources, such as investors, bankers, and also our peer friends, because this is a huge investment of somewhat around 70 crores, which will be divided among different processes, which we explained in our presentation.
To add to it, a large part of it would also be taken from loans, that is about 39%. So for that, we're estimating an amount like a rate of interest of 11%, but we'll be able to return that amount in the required time, because we are also buying shares from different companies from where we're outsourcing, instead of just buying their services like other companies generally do. Because if we're buying the shares, not only are we able to use their services for a cost, obviously, but also we're able to get the profits that their company also gets. So that serves as an extra source of revenue for us.
Any further questions, Janice? Yes, Dr. Srini.
No questions been covered.
Okay, great. Thank you, team. All the best. So we have two more presentations left. The next presentation is Team 11, Insia, Mohammed, Mubarak, and Murtaza. Could you please raise your hands? Team, you can start whenever you're ready.
Ma'am, is the screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Just a second.
Sure.
Just imagine a world with roads full of garbage and mosquitoes lurking all over it. Stray cows roaming here and there. A total mess, won't it be? And wouldn't it be fascinating if we said we had a proper solution to it?
Yes, you heard it right. Good afternoon, everyone. India, the world's second largest producer of fruits and vegetables, is throwing away fresh produce worth 133 billion every year. It wastes 30% of freshly produced fruits and vegetables. The country records more than 4 lakh cases of malaria, 1 lakh cases of dengue, and roughly 60,000 cases of chikungunya annually.
This is the project timeline. It will all start with collecting waste in an interval of 5 hours twice every day. Then phase 2, we will feed this picked up waste twice a day to cows who have lost their ability to reproduce and lactate. The cows will reduce this waste to 1/4 its mass in the form of dung. Phase 3. Through biodigesters, we will extract methane present in dung, and this methane produced from different biodigesters in different areas will be collected in a grid. In the grid, it will be liquefied, and through pipeline system, it will be made available to people who cut trees for cooking food. And also, the slurry will be sold as a manure. Now, coming back to the cows part, we don't expect them to eat even the rotten vegetables, do we? No. So, we intend to put those vegetables in big vermicompost beds. After a month or so, it will be converted to black gold, or otherwise, as we all know, world's best organic manure, which will be sold as well.
We have made a model representing various phases of our project. We have measured the impact of our project through the theory of change, stating the working plan. To gain more knowledge and see if our project may succeed, we took many interviews, and these are some of them.
जो गाय न दूध देती है न अब और बच्चे दे पाती है, उनके साथ आप क्या करते हैं?
हम उनको तबेले में से निकाल लेते हैं।
तबेले में से क्यों निकाल देते हैं?
उनका रहने का और खाने का खर्चा बहुत आता है, हम इसीलिए उनको तबेले से निकाल।
एक गाय दिन में कितना गोबर देती है?
एक गाय दिन में 20 से 25 किलो गोबर देती है तकरीबन।
आपने हमारा प्रोजेक्ट सुना, तो अब आप बताइए आप हमारी कैसे मदद कर सकते हैं?
हम उनको रहने की भी जगह देंगे और गोबर भी आपको देंगे, बस आप उनका खाना लाके देंगे।
जो आप पौधे डालते हैं तो उसके अंदर कौन सी खाद डालते हैं?
रासायनिक खाद।
कितने की आती है?
20-25 रुपए की।
उससे कुछ झाड़ को नुकसान होता है?
हाँ, जल जाते हैं।
ऑर्गेनिक वाली क्यों यूज नहीं करते?
महंगी आती है वो, 70-80 रुपए की आती है।
तो अगर हम आपको ये ऑर्गेनिक वाली 30-40 में देंगे, इसका कोई नुकसान नहीं होता झाड़ पर, तो आप वो यूज करेंगे? आप खाना घर पे पकाते तो कैसे पकाते हैं?
चूल्हे पर।
चूल्हा काय का रहता है? गैस का रहता है, लकड़ी का रहता है?
लकड़ी का।
तो लकड़ी का क्यों लगाते हैं, गैस का क्यों?
1000 का गैस आता, मेरी हैसियत नहीं मंगाने का।
अगर गवर्नमेंट से सपोर्ट आएगा, कोई और आपको हेल्प कर रहा है, अगर आपको 200-300 के अंदर ही अगर गैस लाके दे, तो आप लकड़ा जलाना छोड़ देंगे?
हाँ।
Ruckus is caused in the area that you live in due to the waste from veggie markets?
Well, due to the waste from the veggie market, it makes it really difficult to move and function.
And also because of the waste, it has a higher risk of getting sick from diseases like malaria and dengue. You people are taking an effort of reducing of such vast, devastating method followed since years now. Then I think every individual should adapt this method of yours.
Our project has been developed by us in such a way that it is a win-win for the environment from every angle. Our main motto is to promote this idea to be able to be practiced on a large scale. This will benefit vegetable vendors, people living near these markets, people without fuel to cook food, farmers housing cows, unemployed workers, animals in the forests, and lastly, cows rendering homeless.
We also aim to convince people to use methane as a fuel as it is easy to produce, it is cheap and has the same calorific value as our regular LPG cylinders. Our idea is viable, economical, innovative, and sustainable, owing to its positive impacts throughout its implementation.
Financial model. The finance that we require is a transportation cost, which is 1.5 lakhs per month. We expect the government and philanthropists to help us for the same. Even the compressor for liquefying methane will cost us 5.7 lakhs. Our profit plan goes like this. We intend to sell the dung free of methane at rupees 250 for 50 pieces, methane at rupees 450 for 14.5 liters, and lastly the vermicast at rupees 30 per kg.
Now, these are the potential challenges. First, to convince people to use methane instead of wood, curbing this issue by explaining them all the benefits methane has over wood, educating people about how beneficial it is to the environment. Second, to reduce transportation cost. We have requested the municipal officials of our area and hope to get their support.
We hope that not even a single thing goes in waste and try to convert the waste into welfare. Welfare of people and animals, welfare of the environment, welfare of the society, and make this world a better place to live in. Because when you put the whole picture together, recycling is the only thing to do, as there is no such thing as away. If we throw something away, it needs to go somewhere. Reducing waste
by empowering cattle.
This is how we aspire
to fight the battle.
Thank you.
Thank you for the great presentation, team. Over to you, judges.
Hello, team. This is Srini. Your enthusiasm is infectious. So please keep it up. My question to you is, where do you start and where do you see yourselves in, say, 6 months from now?
So the project starts from vegetable markets, all the waste there, we collect it and we dump it to cows and give it to them to eat and reduce it to dung. And then the dung is put into biodigesters. It extracts methane from it, and the vegetables left by the cows are put in biodigesters, are put in vermicompost beds, which are then converted to black gold. So like in 6 months, it will reduce most of the stray cows here, and it will stop producing more stray cows. The farmers will stop producing more stray cows, and the vegetable markets will be more cleaner, and there will be a reduced the level of diseases like dengue, malaria. These will be reduced.
Understand. So I was interested in how you kick off this project and what are the steps you have already taken or plan to take in the near future?
Yeah. So we have contacted with some of the people who have biodigesters, the municipal cooperators, to seek permission if we can pick up waste from the vegetable market. And we have made at least one team right now, and we are still contacting other people. And we have even contacted the person who has the compressor for liquefying methane, and it will arrive shortly.
Okay, thank you.
I might have a bit of a less informed question because I have no idea about cows. So first of all, very, very good idea. I think it's interesting because you combine so many different problems into one solution. I was just wondering, can cows eat any fruit and vegetables? Is that healthy for them? Did you check?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Basically, there are two types of cows. One, like they are the same cows in two different stages. The first stage is when they need to be healthy, like the time when they are used for their milk, and after a stage in their life, they stop producing milk. So farmers remove them from their farms, and these cows are now strays. So we ask the farmers to keep those cows which are no longer any help to them. And yeah, if we even give them that food which is not that very healthy, it doesn't affect them or us, because we don't need that nutrition in them for the milk.
Okay, and then no, thank you. That helps me understand. I mean, I wondered if if we fed a cow a lot of bananas, if and the milk would taste like banana milk. Who knows? My other thing is, first of all, you're in good company in trying to convince people to use methane instead of firewood for cooking. I think you've touched on a problem that the world over people are trying to solve. So good for that. And I think the clean cooking challenge is something that we still need to really tackle. And then my second big question would be, how are you planning to work out your distribution of how the logistics? Because if you're I assume there's a market and you need to collect things from one market, which was the collection bit. I think is quite easy unless there's maybe 2 or 3 markets in the city, but still relatively centralized. But then on the other hand, I've only been to India a few times, but I haven't really seen huge farms. So there would be distributed farms with 1 to 10 cows. How do you think this could work out so that you can actually get that food, the fruit and veg, to the farmers if they keep the stray cows? How did you think about this distribution system?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, to start with my answer, I would like to tell you first that we are not aiming for one market. We have, like, if you are aiming on, like, suppose here in Nagpur we have like 4 to 5 big markets. So we will appoint one or two dumper trucks rented, and we'll appoint them to one markets, and they'll pick up the waste and bring it. And then the same dumpers will be used for picking up the dung produced, and this whole process will be on a daily basis.
So there will be one truck basically picking up one heap of vegetables, taking it to a few farms, and then doing the round backwards again and picking up the dung. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All clear. Thank you.
Hi. My question is with regards to some of the people that you interviewed, and then they brought up a few challenges that they face. One of them was about the cost of using, I think, organic material. And they said that it's too expensive for them to use. So have you done some study on what is the current cost outside and how much are you able to bring it down by? And the cost that you bring down, is that incentive enough for them to use it?
Yes.
Yes. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
In the market, as one of in the one of in one of the interviews, it was mentioned that there was rupees 70 to 80 per per kg of manure to be used in their farms. So that was very expensive for them because they have like large fields and they need more of it. So we also mentioned that we will be selling it for rupees 30 per kg. So it is like a difference of nearly 40 rupees. So I think that will make a difference to them.
Yes, and have you done the breakdown, the math of how you were producing in 30 rupees? Do you have that? Because we didn't see that, so I'm trying to understand if you done that calculation.
So can you repeat the question?
Have you arrived at how you are making it, producing it within 30 rupees? Because you need to define the scope of your project in terms of, say, where are you beginning, because that will determine how much you are able to produce it at cost wise. So I was trying to see if you have a breakdown of how you arrived at that price, that you're able to bring it down to 30 rupees.
So basically, making black gold, the manure that we are getting from vermicompost beds, making that is very easy, but the initial cost is very much. Like only the vermicompost beds, and then the rest soil we can even plow and dump it. So we are not making any. We are not buying any we are not buying any vermicompost beds. So that initial cost is totally eliminated. We are aiming for people who already have this vermicompost beds. So this 30 rupees is only the maintenance cost, the workers and their salaries then divided.
All right, thank you. And I like how in sync all of you are in making the presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. All the best. Thank you, judges. We have
Thank you so much.
We have the last team that will be presenting for the day. I know we've overshot the time by a huge margin, but please bear with us. There's just one more presentation and we'll be done for the day. So the next presentation is by Idris, Mustansir, Mukarram, Khadija, Insia, and Zainab. Could you all raise your hands, please? You can start when you're ready, team.
Okay. Good evening, respected judges. Do you all need help? Let's break the stigma together. Awareness on mental health is the need of the hour. Parents, adolescents, kids, people of all ages suffer from mental health issues at some or the other point in their life. We fail to understand that it is okay to not be okay. We do not know the remedy to this virus that makes our brains sick and tired. And we fail to understand the same thing, that it is just okay to not be okay. I'm going to keep hammering this because we fail to understand this. Now, we have formed a club in our school named Happies, where we are educating the kids even more on the insights on mental health. For example, we know that you need to talk it out if you have a problem. The club explains how exactly are you supposed to talk it out. And a pledge is being recited daily in our school in the first online lecture after the prayers. And that is, we being a part of Happy's pledge to bond with this fraternity. Wisdom and happiness we shall promote. Awareness on mental health we shall support. And I'm going to say this one more time because I'm going to keep hammering this. It is okay to not be okay.
Our innovation. Firstly, we will form a team named Happy's Club.
Through this club, we will spread awareness and it will be open to everyone so, so that anybody can carry out this mission ahead. Next, we'll be giving seed cards. As I mentioned, seed card. All will be having a question that what is it? Basically, it is a card which has seeds embedded on it. When we keep it in water, gradually it will grow into a plant and we will use it to promote sustainability and go green. Then our next step will be wellness days in which we will organize activities which all students will enjoy and they will be distressed. As my friend stated about the pledge, we will convey this pledge every day in our online school assembly by which we will awaken their spirits that mental health is important. Now, last but not the least, one of our school students will be sharing a positive thought every day in the online assembly.
People may doubt what we say, but will believe what we do. So, from our implementation plan presented in our previous attempt, we have taken a few actions and many are in the pipeline. Our Instagram account nearing 100 followers is one of our resources to get financially independent, details of which will be taken up in the further segment. The Happy's Club is also one of our actions which has been accomplished and the concept already been explained by my teammate. The workshops for teachers have been planned in 3 teaching sections between 23rd Jan and 6 March, which will cover topics of attention, appreciation, space, and opinions. And towards the end of this year, we also plan on organizing awareness kits with the help of our fellow classmates for teachers, parents, and other school students. Along with these kits, high school students as assignments will voluntarily spread awareness with the help of NGOs and a few other plans which will add to our success. A famous personality quoted, "Well done is better than well said."
Our financial plan has 6 stages. First, growing saplings as science assignments. Students of each standard from 3rd to 7th will be given an assignment to grow plant saplings by their science teacher. Student will have to return the saplings after growing them to the school, which will be sold to the gardeners. Second, Instagram account. Our team has created an Instagram account by the name Imagination Station, a stage open for everyone to sell their hobbies and promote sustainability. As my teammate stated above, the seed card, which will be provided as a complimentary product on each order to the buyer. Third, conducting creative workshops. Online workshops have already been conducted by our team on the creative topics of art, embroidery, cooking, etc. at a very reasonable price. Fourth, Bokashi compost. The compost created by the MSB team as a worldview topic will be sold to the gardeners, which is a vital ingredient for the good health of plants. Fifth, PTA contributions. Parents as well as teachers of each standard will contribute a sum of money to further finance the project. And last but not the least, paternal support. The parents of the team are willingly contributing a sum of money to help prosper the objective of the goal. Aside of these financial plans, the school will also provide funds to the team for the scaling up of the project. And we would like to inform you all that we have been able to sell about 2 to 3 of our products from our Instagram link. And these are the happy client reviews that we have been able to gather.
Potential challenges. Many of our students will be unlikely to share their creative articles with us. Even if we receive, we would then need potential buyers, where a second challenge kicks in. A third challenge is that startup plans need financial constraints. The most crucial challenge we will face would be changing a child's mindset. Changing a child's mindset on emotional well being and ultimately remodeling the child's mental health to make it positive in the end. The impact would at its first stage originate from a school and then would connect to other schools. After that, we hope that we spread it in the society. Then our high school students, with the help of the city NGOs, would spread awareness as discussed earlier in our implementation plan. Our final milestone is to spread awareness regarding this topic
in the entire city. And we hope that we could go further as well.
We are making sure that our plan is sustainable by doing the following. Number one, by having counseling available at any time during school hours, we make sure that the child wanting to emote doesn't have to wait. Number two, education is embedded in your mind. By educating children on this valuable topic, we make sure that they never forget to prioritize their mental health. Number three, they say fitness is not a destination but a journey. By beginning emotional and physical fitness at an early age, we give a kickstart to their journey. Number four, by turning our group into a club and including students in the form of volunteers and eventually clubmates, we are ensuring a long life for the implementation. We would like to conclude by highlighting that our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, quoted that education leads to empathy, empathy leads to empowerment, and empowerment leads to emotional well being. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, team. Judges, any questions?
Hello, team. This is Srini. My question to you is, what is the major problem that you're trying to solve? Or what is the major
The biggest problem here that we are trying to solve is that people are not realizing that mental health is as important as physical health. That is the main highlight. And that too, mental health is even more important than physical health. Because if you are mentally and emotionally unstable, you will get depressed. And then we know how that cycle goes. And it's very hard to get out of that cycle. So we are spreading awareness on how can you not go into depression. What are the precautions that you can take? How can you yourself be emotionally happy? And we are also trying to state here that education starts from when you're 3 years old or something, all your life. So we want to start reinforcing this from the school so that when you grow up, you can keep passing this down from generation to generation. So our main target audience for this project is adolescents and kids.
The second question, thank you.
I would like to add upon it. Now,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like nowadays, mental health is not a common topic. We want to make it a common topic. Like when you come home, your mother asks that have you eaten food? Like that only we want to make it as common as future mother would ask that is are you stressed or not, like that.
Understood. So my suggestion to you would be, think of it as wellness, because anything mental in our society, as you know, has a bad image, has a bad connotation. So it's not about mental in my mind when I'm listening to you. It's really about how do you promote wellness? How do you promote well-being to the audience, to the people you're dealing with?
Yes, exactly. That's what we thought about. Because in India, whenever you say mental, it's like, oh no, I don't want to be near them. Oh no, mental is not good. Because whenever you say mental, you have in your mind mental asylum, mental hospital. Oh no, I don't want to be in this conversation at all. So that's what we're trying to change the people's mindset here too. But we would take your point into consideration.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful idea. I think this is really important, and obviously, I cannot talk about the situation in India, but I can underline that it's not very different in Austria. So I think these are topics that are important anywhere in the world, and I think especially in looking into how in our curriculums and in our school days, how these things that contribute to your mental health or your mental well-being, are cut over and over again. So we're cutting arts education, we're cutting physical education, we're cutting music out of our curriculum. So this is all things that would help you become less stressed. So I'm wondering, since you are doing this, are you planning also, as you implement your program and into your ideas, are you having a conversation with higher ups to really share with them your lessons learned and the changes you've been able to make, so that you could report, let's say, back to your district government, to your, even at some point, maybe even your prime minister, and saying, hey, this is what we really need and this is how we've made a difference, and please make sure that in the future this is also included in the curriculum, and bring back arts and arts education and physical education, these kinds of things. Are you thinking in the big picture? That's my question.
Yeah. So what we feel here is that before talking to any higher government, we feel that if we would rather implement it in our school, yeah, of course we will talk to them later on, but yeah, we will talk to them later on about this. But we feel that after we implement, we can show them the results. We have spoken to our, the principal, and we've got guidance from a teacher and a counselor. So we are talking to people higher than us, obviously. But then about the prime minister, yeah, we will see about it.
It will
Okay,
definitely
perfect.
take us time reaching that post. So we're
Absolutely,
starting it
but
from our city.
excellent. And then that's exactly what I wanted to hear. It's like, are you tracking your results so that you can at some point then share it with
Yes,
the bigger
definitely.
people? Excellent. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to point out that I really liked how you looked at your school itself as the primary impact zone, because there's a lot of capital that exists within your school, a lot of resources that exist within your school which are very easily accessible to you. So build on that, and it's a good way forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, team. With that, we come to the end of the Tomorrow Today finale as part of AIM 2020. It was a long duration of presentations, but it was great to see all of you come up with such brilliant ideas to create social impact. And of course, playing such a crucial role in our entire mission of building Gen Z into a generation of solvers. So with that, I would like to request all the students who are currently here. I know a lot of you have dropped out, but the students who are currently here, the finalists, if you could please raise your hand, the ones watching, and I will promote you to panelists if we can take a quick photo. And before that, I'd just like to mention that on your screen right now, you'll be able to see our social media handles. In the coming week, the first half of the coming week, we will be announcing the winners of the finale on our social media handles. So do keep track of the announcements on our social media handles. Follow us, and you'll hear from us. We'll also let you know via email once the posts have been put out, once the results have been announced. You can take note of our social media handles from your screen. So on that note, it's time for our virtual selfie.
Actually, while we wait for everyone, I had some closing thoughts to share. But before that, I'd like to hear from Catherine and Srini as well. If you want to just summarize, having seen all the 12 presentations, if you have any thoughts to share, I'm sure those will be very valuable for the participants.
My first thought, Aditya, is that the future of our country and of our world is in good hands. And my second thought is, I am really blown away by the ideas, the creativity of the ideas, the homework that's been done, and most importantly, the passion. So the students, my request to you is don't ever lose that passion, whatever else you do. Win or lose.
Yeah, I would just want to second Srini's assessment here. This has been amazing. And I really think that I came, and of course, I mean, to be totally frank, I was like, what, Friday morning? Saturday morning, I have to work. But this has not been work. It's been such an inspiration. It's been a motivation for me. My year just started. We had a very busy year last year at the Ban Ki-moon Center, and we have another busy year coming up. So this is exactly what I needed to propel me forward. And as Srini said, the future, you are the future. You don't hold it in your hands. You are the future, and it makes me really, really happy to see how fantastic you've done your research, how well you understand. It's amazing how well you understand what is needed, how to build projects, how to do financial plans, and how well you work together in teams. I think this has been really, really inspiring. And I would actually just say thank you very much for putting so much effort in, and also thank you to the Worldview team to putting it all together. So this congratulations to everybody.
Yeah, I think I just like echo what Srini and Catherine said, but I also like to add that I think for the other youth your age, you are already the role models, I feel. So I don't think young people need to look at anyone beyond their own peers today to find role models. So it's also important that you all put out your thoughts, the work that you're doing, your passion, using that social media tool that you already find as being very powerful. Put it out there, because you're the inspiration for the rest of your peers. We don't need anybody else. You're the protagonist. You're not the sidekicks ever. So just continue that, because that's what we need to build this generation of solvers that we want, and keep reaching out to all of us, because we are happy to support you in whatever way we can.
Thank you so much, judges, for your closing thoughts. It was really, really great to have all of you present here today. And thank you so much for taking out the time on the weekend and spare so much time to judge the projects for Tomorrow Today finale. And without further ado, we can go all smiles at this point, and I will quickly take a screenshot. So if everybody could turn on their videos, please. Okay, great. Smile. Awesome. I got that. And we will be putting this up. So do stay tuned on our social media handles to see yourself smiling on Zoom. Thank you so much again for all the presentations. And thank you to the judges once again for sparing so much time in judging our projects.
Thank you, Srini and Catherine, for taking the time out on a weekend. Thank you, all the participants.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.